I've just compiled one of the best Facebook ad courses that you could possibly go through online, and it's completely free for you guys. Over the next 2 hours, we're gonna be going through every single thing you need to know with Facebook ads to win in 2025. These are the exact things that at my agency we're currently using right now that has helped multiple brands now scale to $1 million months and dozens of brands to 6 figures a month in revenue. With that being said, let's dive into it. So when you're running Facebook ads and when you're running advertising, what a lot of people mess up on is that they think they need to actually go ahead and jam their product in people's faces. They're like, hey, I just spent all my time, money, and energy building this product. Here's my product, it has 200 milligrams of caffeine, buy it now. And what a lot of people mess up at is that when they do this, they don't grab anyone's attention and people just simply swipe away because they can care less about your product. So when you're leading with advertising, you have to treat it as people can care less about my product. And what do people care about? What grabs people's attention? It's things that they care about. It's things that they're currently going through. It's things that they're currently interested in. So if you want to grab someone's attention with advertising, you simply need to state things that they're interested in or they're struggling with, they desire. And that's how you grab someone's attention. Now, with advertising and when you're creating an ad, your whole goal is to grab their attention based off what they want and show them how your product can help them achieve that. So for me, what I like to imagine is a bridge. Imagine a very foggy bridge, like the bridge in San Francisco, I think it is, with the Golden Gate Bridge. And if you stand on one side of the bridge and look down the bridge to the other side, you cannot see the other side at all. It's foggy, it's dark, and there's nothing guiding you to the other side. Who knows, that bridge might be completely cut open in the middle and you fall down into the water and die. So for me, that's how I look at advertising. A consumer wants to cross that bridge, but they have no clue how to get across that bridge. They want what's on the other side of that bridge, but they have no clue how to cross it safely. And it's foggy, it's murky. So for them to guide them across that bridge right there, what we need to look at is actually going ahead, grabbing their hand and walking them through to the other side of the bridge. And that's what our ad does. Our ad grabs their hand and says, hey, you want to walk to the other side of the bridge? I'll guide you. They guide them because they want to get on that other side of the bridge and they trust us. And they guide them across the other side of the bridge and show them how to get there. And that's the goal of our ad. Guide them based off where they're at now to the other side of that bridge is where they want to go. And our ad does that and shows them how our product can help them achieve that. Instead of hand walking to the other side, we're basically showing them how our product can help them get to that other side. This is called mass desire. And there's different bridges people want to cross in life. Some people want to cross the bridge of marriage. Some people want to cross that bridge of making more money. And it's our goal as an advertiser to call out those different things they want to cross into and use that as leverage to showcase how our product can get them to that side of the bridge. This is where we get all the power at in advertising. This is where we can actually take something and rapidly scale it when we call out something people want versus, hey, here's my product. No one wants your product. People want to get on the other side of the bridge. Our goal is to use our product to help them get to the other side of the bridge with our ad. So another thing I like to look at is whitewater rafting. It's easy if you're whitewater rafting to go down the mountain. That's an example of desire across the marketplace. People desire going down the mountain and our current is moving very fast down that mountain. It's easy just to put the raft in the water and it shoots us down. Whereas if the water is still, it's not moving and you have to try to go up or go down the mountain or up the mountain, it's gonna be substantially harder. And this is the difference here between having the right desire your product is targeting versus the wrong desire. If you have the wrong desire you're going after in the marketplace, then it's going to be a lot of work and you're barely going to get anywhere. But if you simply change that desire in the marketplace to something that is very hot and people want now and show them how our product can help them get there, it's going to shoot you down the mountain easily, and it's just going to be substantially easier to scale. We had a client about a year or two ago who was doing anywhere between $100,000, $125,000 a month for their store. We simply found a new desire for their business, and we were able to rapidly scale their business to $1 million months with that new desire. They were already testing creatives. They were already testing different angles, iterations, and variations. But the one thing they were not testing were new desires for their product. So this becomes very important for me as we look at desire across the marketplace. Now, I'm not going to try to go too deep in this slideshow, but just make sure we first understand that desire part. And this is going to be hopes, dreams, fears, wants, needs of your market. A big thing that you have to understand is that desire cannot be created. You can't create desire. Desire is already out in the marketplace, and it's our goal to latch onto that desire and then show them how that desire can be achieved with our product. Walk them across the bridge at dark, foggy, almost impossible to see the other side of the bridge. And again, wrong desire will substantially weaken your ability to scale. And we will have clients that have multiple different desires around their product. For example, if I'm selling a chicken breast, like if I go to a store and the little boneless chicken breast right there, the bodybuilder will go eat that chicken breast because they want to get bigger and stronger in the gym. Whereas the mom, she's going to grab that chicken breast because she wants to cook a good meal for her family. So I could have ads for both of those two different personas, each with a different desire inside of my ad account, and that's perfectly fine. So there is a lot of our clients and ad accounts that have multiple different desires we're going after, but they're all the biggest and strongest desires we can go after with our product. Now, again, people do not buy your product for what it does. People buy your product for who they become. When I drink this C4 energy drink right here, for example, I'm not buying it for more energy. I'm buying it because it allows me to get more work done. It allows me to be my most productive self throughout the day. That's why I'm buying that product right there. So who does your product help people become? A big thing here when it goes down to the Facebook sides is that when we're actually building those creatives inside of our ad accounts, these is going to be what starts off your hook. Now your hook can be broken up into two separate things. The first thing your hook can be broken into is the text part. That's that text that you see on the screen when you're scrolling and then you see this big thing. The second part of the hook is the visual of what people see in that first second, or if it's a photo ad, what people see on that photo ad. Now, some will argue that there's a third one, which is what the person says if it's a video ad. Me personally, whatever the person says in that first 3 seconds, if it's a video ad like a UGC or something like that, it's going to be that text hook on the screen as well. This is where we want to showcase that desire. So if someone wants to make more money, we're going to go ahead and call out the fact that, hey, if you want to make more money, watch this. We're calling out what they want, their desire, and we're showing to them in that video. If they also want to make more money, likelihood, I'm also going to show something on the screen that resembles money, whether it's a car or watch or, the bank account balance being filled up. So the visual hook and the text hook needs to resemble what people desire to grab people's attention. Because again, what grabs people's attention is what people care about. If we call out what they care about, what they actively desire right now, that's going to grab their attention. Here's a couple other examples real quick, just showing like the weight loss thing. All these products are different products, but have the same desire. That's also another thing, is that one desire can have thousands of different products and different mechanisms to satisfy that particular desire right there. So this example right here, this is all around weight loss. I am the skinniest I've been in 20 years. Stay at home, work out for weight loss. This is how psychology changed her eating habits. All of these go around that desire of weight loss and wanting to be like a smaller size. Now, another big thing you have to understand about desire is that each desire has different market sizes. So let's say you go after the desire, like desire to lose weight before stepping into a bodybuilding competition versus the desire to lose weight before traveling on a cruise. Like those are gonna be two different desires and a little bit more like niche down desires. They're gonna have two different audience pockets of people, and they're going to need two different types of creatives. And it's also going to have two different population, percentage of the people that share that desire. So certain desires are more scalable than others based off just a pure market size of that desire right there. And I think that's also another big thing people have to understand, because if you're starting to scale up a particular desire that has a very small market cap, you'll run into a cap where it's like, oh, okay, I can't really spin anymore. Testing this desire, I know this desire works, but it's just not really scaling. Then boom, guess what? You need to change your desire to something else. Now, you don't need to turn off the ads for the older desire. You just simply need to launch new ads going after a larger cap of desire and everything like that. So that's a big one. Now, there is permanent desires and trending desires. Permanent desires can be things like sex appeal, make more money, you want a girlfriend, want a boyfriend, like things like that, like things that are just all the time around. And I've also made a few other examples right here. Financial freedom, to be admired or respected by others, find true love, deeper connection. Like these are some desires that just what I would say more mass level and that are just all the time year round. Whereas like a trending desire is more short term, where it's like for us, we have a couple clients that do only good 4 times a year. 4 times in a year, they make 90% of their revenue, and the other rest of the year, the other 8 months, they make 10% of their revenue total. And these are gifting products that crush it for Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, and pretty much Christmas. The rest of the year, they suck. And that's because the trending desire at that time is gift giving, and gift giving works really well for those gift shops right there. So in that particular case, that's more of a trending desire. It's not a permanent desire people always have. There might be something around like a new product which is launched. I love Call of Duty. So like for me, like there's a new Call of Duty that's released every, I think, October or like early November. So like I don't have that desire for that new game until around that time, and that's it, it's gone. So you'll have trending desires, and then you'll have those permanent desires that's like all the time going on. Now, I'm not necessarily opposed to either one. I just need to understand that if I'm scaling my business around gift giving for Christmas, that it's only going to be here for a short time. We helped a client that was doing $30,000 a month. August, September did about $30,000 each that month. October they did $300,000 in a single month. November they did $3.5 million in a single month. December they did $2.5 million. And then guess what? They went and spent almost all their profit on inventory for January, February, and March. And guess what happens? Their business falls down to maybe $1,000 a day in revenue in January. They did $2.5 million in December. They did about $25,000 in January. What's the difference? The desire shifted. All of their ads and all of their marketing and messaging was around gift giving. And because of that, they failed going into the next quarter with the desire changing. Now, yes, they could change the desire they're going after, and that's what they did, but it still didn't have the same power because it was this scenario right here. The desire for gift giving specifically around their product. So each product you're promoting, some desires just won't even fit that product. And this product right here was a product you just looked at and you're like, oh, that's a great gift, but I wouldn't buy it any other time of the year. And same thing here. So they had the rapid effect in this particular case right here with the water and stuff, but they failed when it came down to Q1 because of this. They didn't have any other desires that were strong, and all the other desires was just like rowing a boat in still water. It's not necessarily like a bad thing because they still did $6 million in just October, November, December total, but it did suck because they spent a lot of money on new inventory that they would still eventually sell, but it just sucked a lot because they just blew a lot of their profits on inventory, and they knew it'd be a couple more months before things would start picking back up again. Going a little bit into this, how do you determine desire? For me, a couple places I like to determine desire is just simply going through reviews and stuff. As you go through reviews, you can determine more of like the desire, what people want, and what are people looking for. So like here, for example, I just went to a product on Amazon to start screenshotting that. Other things to look at is like going on Reddit. Reddit's been my favorite research source lately. Reddit, going on TikTok, going and looking at what competitors are pushing specifically around their product and looking at what are the main desires people are going after. That's what I like to look at. In this particular example right here, this person just wants more energy for their workouts. How do we know? Energy and stamina when taking pre-workout. Amino energy provides a subtle but very noticeable increase in energy and stamina when taking pre-workout. Boom. This person wanted a pillow for side sleepers. As a side and back sleeper, find the perfect pillow has always been a challenge. So this one was more struggling with a problem than like an actual desire. But you could definitely tell like, hey, like this is what they were looking for. Here's another one. It definitely makes your fingernails so much stronger. I had nails that easily broke, not anymore. So this person wanted stronger nails so they would stop breaking. basically. And then, yeah, just a couple things for market research. Where is this applied? This is a big one right here. And just to go more clearly into this, this is, like I said, this is going to be the creative you're putting on Facebook. So like, for example, this particular client right here, their desire we're going after, which was gifting. And we had to visually show that from a gifting perspective, but also to call out that gifting right there. That's a big one. Here's one right here where we're showing that desire of looking skinny and happy relationship and stuff, and also calling that out right there, that particular desire. This one right here, stay at home, work out for weight loss. They want weight loss, and then we're just introducing a new mechanism, and we're showcasing that desired state right there. So these are great examples of those particular desires being called out from a text perspective, but also to a visual perspective, because they're both needing to be done. I find that the text hook is always going to create the visual hook. So I'll always create my text hook first. Then I ask myself, how can I visually articulate this? And just to finish this off, let's just go over a few different desires that, I just kind of recently posted on Twitter right here. Here, to feel confident in their own skin, to have financial freedom, to be admired or respected by others. And in fact, actually, let's just give a scenario for each one. I think all of us watching on this channel, like I know for me, like when I was younger, I used to be like overweight. And when I was overweight and when I was younger, I used to be like the kid that would go wear like a fucking t-shirt when I go swimming because I didn't feel confident in my own skin. I felt fat, felt overweight, and all I wanted at that time was to feel confident, to be able to take my shirt off and feel confident. Financial freedom. Again, I'm gonna relate this back to me. I remember back in the day when, my bank account was overdrafted, which basically just means that money was pulled on my account I didn't have. And like I had, I think $20 in my wallet that had to last me like the next 2 or 3 days before like a client paid me. And at that time it was just my detailing business. So clients were paying me $100, $200 a car. So like I was living like car to car, like $100 for a detail that lost me, a week maybe. And then like I have shit like that. And like all the time I wanted right there was just to have financial freedom and be able to go and like purchase things without even looking at it. And that was financial freedom to me, not to stress about any of that. To be admired or respected by others. How many times we've been in conversations with people and, every time you start to talk, someone else talks over you. And like in that particular moment right there, you just want respect and, be heard amongst people. True love. How many times we've gone through a breakup and it's like, or you've dated people that's just like, but you want that deeper thing. And that's where, that true love, deeper connection stems from. Be their own boss. A lot of y'all watching this YouTube channel are likely own your own Shopify store or run your own Facebook ads agency. And you at a moment where you were working a 9 to 5 and you wanted to be your own boss. Now you're here. Give yourself a pat on the back because that's a huge accomplishment for yourself. Have more energy, vitality. Look, I have a long day of filming. I wanted more energy. That's why I drove to my C4. Travel the world, look fit and attractive, to make a difference in the world, to live without stress or worry. All of these are different desires that people have across the marketplace, and there's infinite amount of desires as well. It's not like it's just these desires. I know there's like the Life Force 8, which is also something to check out. The Life Force 8 are like the 8 core desires everyone has, and I think that's a good start for a lot of people. But what I find with that is that if you go too over the top with the desire and call out like, because like technically you can link any of those Life Force 8 to anything that you're promoting, and it's like one of them is desire for like sex or something like that, and it's like, I can link it to this product, and it's like, okay, that's a little crazy. So if you link it to a product and there's not a strong like, that makes sense, or like a strong, here's how this product helps you achieve that thing answered, then what happens is people don't look at that particular mechanism. A mechanism, all that is your product. Like this is a mechanism for me getting more energy. So if I look at that mechanism and I'm like, hey, that doesn't look like it gives me the energy I want, or that doesn't look like it'll do anything for me. I have this one student right now that's doing that exact thing. They're selling a product that people look at and are like, I don't think that does that thing that you're calling out. If they don't believe that, then you have to show a lot of proof in your creative. And that's something we're going to get deeper into this advanced guide, which is proof, market awareness, market sophistication, which we're going to be doing in the next video. So in the last video, we covered mass desire and how important it is with connecting with your audience to grab their attention. Now, in today's video, we're gonna be going over market sophistication. And basically what this means is it's the competitiveness of each market you go after. Every desire you go after has a different level of market sophistication. Now, what is market sophistication? Market sophistication just means that, hey, this particular desire, one person's selling a product around that desire. Whereas this particular desire, 500 people are selling a product around that. When there's more people targeting that same desire, selling similar products, what happens is that it's more competitive. And when it's more competitive, it costs a lot more to acquire a customer, and you're gonna have to spend a lot more on ads to get a customer, which means that you're gonna have a lower ROAS, higher cost per purchase, and it's gonna be harder to be profitable. So with market sophistication, this is a strategy we deploy to be able to address that competitiveness and give you a playbook of how to, all right, hey, everyone's doing this. Here's what you need to do next. So great example is right here. This is a great example of a desire for losing fat, and everyone is calling out that desire to lose fat. So what happens here is it makes it very difficult for people to pick a box. Whereas if we go to this stage of market sophistication, lose fat. Oh, this person's saying lose 18 pounds in 4 weeks. I want to go with this person because it's a clear choice. It's a different thing, and it's also a little bit more exaggerated. It's a little bit more better in that case right there. Now, by the time that happens, everyone starts saying the same thing again. That's when we have to play the next, piece. If you're into not necessarily puzzles, but chess, it's a great example of like chess right here. We always want to be one step forward from the competition. So here, everyone's saying the same thing, and then guess what? First wonder drug for losing, and it's first wonder drug for losing weight. We're introducing a new mechanism. Now, with market sophistication, there is literally going to be 5 different stages of market sophistication. And the first stage of market sophistication is just, hey, you're first to the market. All you have to do is simply state the claim. Losing weight is extremely competitive. There's been millions of people, hundreds of thousands of brands and businesses that's called that out over the last century or two of basically advertising. So you would never just say how to lose weight on social media because it's already an extremely competitive market with tons of brands advertising to that particular desire. So at a stage 1 though, that is what you're saying. So if you ever enter into a new market or a new desire is developed, for example, an iOS 14.5 hit and everyone lost their data between Facebook and Shopify and the reporting was terribly off. It's like, hey, I want something that's going to I want something that's going to give me clear data again. And it's like, boom, here you go. Attribution software, Wicked Reports. That's it. That's all Wicked Reports had to say. Then things like Hyros came out and Triple came out. And then, we saw a lot of ads from like Alex Becker, for example, where Alex Becker was really pushing hard on the, like one simple tool, one simple script that's going to fix data 100% between boom and boom. Or, hey, I think he did a couple of them where it was like, if this doesn't add X to your business, then like, boom, we're going to like give you a full refund, because he had to start stepping into a stage 2 where like Wicked Reports was stepping in stage 1. Hyros had to start stepping into stage 2 to be one up Triple or Wicked Reports from that sense. Then like Triple came out, which we'll get to a little bit in Triple because Triple does have its unique place in the market sophistication world. So at a stage 1 market sophistication, there is no other products around this desire. Great way to figure this out for yourself is whatever desire you want to market towards, look it up on Reddit, look it up on YouTube, look at it on TikTok, and there should be no way to satisfy that desire. If there's a way to satisfy that desire currently, then guess what? You're not in a stage 1 market sophistication. Now, next one, stage 2. And stage 2, this is where we just want to simply exaggerate it. So great example is here. Stage 1, stage 2. Stage 2 is just lose 18 pounds in 4 weeks. Looking at Facebook ads niche as a whole, I got my start in 2015 with Facebook ads. And I think Facebook ad agencies started to kind of kick off around that time. Back then, stage 1 sophistication, hey, let me run your Facebook ads. That's it. because no business owners were on Facebook yet. They weren't running Facebook ads yet. And the whole goal was just simply find someone that can run my Facebook ads. But after someone's worked with a couple of Facebook ad agencies and they've gotten burned on the sense of like, oh, they lost more money than made me money. Now, stage 2 sophistication is, hey, I'm going to run your Facebook ads for 30 days. And if you don't make back X amount of money, you get a full refund. Now, all of a sudden, we enlarged on the claim further. That was our lose 18 pounds in 4 weeks. Or, hey, we'll run your Facebook ads for 30 days and make you back at least $10,000, or we'll work for free until we do so. That's a larger claim than just, hey, I'll run your Facebook ads. So you're just simply taking that and moving it and enlarging it more. Now, one thing that people misunderstand with this is that, oh, well, hey, Nick, why don't you just go straight to enlarging the claim on day one? The reason why, if you open up a new market, and the reason why you don't want to just enlarge on claim day one, because you don't understand yet the frustrations people had at a stage 1. So when a stage 1, for example, lose fat, and you don't really understand yet what people are like frustrated with the current solution. So with the Facebook side, once everyone started pitching agencies, then the whole desire of a guarantee was created. The whole desire of, I need at least a certain number guaranteed to me, was created by clients. The clients created that desire after getting burned by agencies. Now we actually have a desire that we can go after. Because again, as an advertiser, you can't create desire, but you can call desire out that already exists in the marketplace. So same thing here with the Facebook ad agency side. Once those agencies burned those clients in the 2015, 2016, and now clients are getting smarter of like, hey, I want a guarantee, then boom, there we go. Now that's when guarantees, hey, I'll run your Facebook ads completely for free for 30 days. And if I don't make you at least $1, I'll pay you $1,000. It's like, what? All these crazy claims started coming out because of that desire created by clients. Now, the next key thing here to understand is that if you keep enlarging on a claim too much, what happens here is you'll actually go ahead and get to a point of unbelievable claims. So for example, it's kind of well known upon Facebook ads that 2 to 3x ROAS is the standard for majority of niches. But if someone's running around and promoting 100x ROAS and, spend $1,000 with me, I'll make you $100,000 back with $1,000 in Facebook ad spend, that's extremely unbelievable. Yes, they enlarged on a claim, but it's so unbelievable by the marketplace that people will just skip past them and say scam, etc. So there's also another big thing when we're looking at running any of our ads. If we make too big of a claim, like for example, I had a student reach out to me who's like doing this ebook, and basically it's like $100 ebook, and they promote it like, hey, you buy this $100 ebook, you're gonna be driving a Ferrari, you're gonna be getting millions of views on social media, all of these things. And the audience that it was targeting were people that just got started with creating content for Instagram. So it was such a big, crazy claim that it was unbelievable and no one was buying. So then it was like, hey, go from that to more, hey, I'm gonna help you with 28 viral hooks that you're going to get in this ebook that's going to help you get more views on your social media. It's less, but it's more impactful, and they have a more clear, tangible thing they're going to get from it, and it's a lower level claim. And that's what we're going to get into next, which is introducing new mechanisms. So stage 3, we went through stage 2. Stage 3, it's not just, hey, let's keep enlarging on the claim. And again, the claim is going to be your hook and kind of how you position your service in the marketplace. So for a stage 3 here, we're just simply introducing a new mechanism. So stage 2, everyone was enlarging on the claim. So stage 3, they just simply go ahead and introduce a new mechanism. A new mechanism is calling out something where you're doing feature first, then benefit in the headline or the hook. Whereas stage 1 and 2, you're doing benefit first, then the feature or the mechanism. So here, great example. I was on social media one day. I posted a thing on Instagram Reels where it was like a picture of a Facebook ad account, and I put Facebook ads finally took off once I discovered emotion baiting. People never heard of the mechanism called emotion baiting, and I called out something new people wanted while also going ahead and showing them what they wanted. So the visual itself of seeing a crazy Facebook ads dashboard with a lot of success, that was what they wanted. And I just simply call the fact that I did this with emotion baiting. At this given time, no one knew what emotion baiting was. So this was my unique mechanism that separated me from everyone else. There's a lot of YouTubers that are in the Facebook ads niche, and I know a lot of you guys that watch this channel also watch those YouTubers and stuff. My unique mechanism in the Facebook ads marketplace and everything like that is the whole simple fact that I go ahead and actually break down these core marketing fundamentals and not some shit where it's like, here's how to set up a campaign, because those are things you've already seen. So for me, it's what's the new mechanism that I can bring to the table that's going to separate me from everyone else while still calling out the same thing. And through these marketing fundamentals is a new mechanism introduced into your brain that gives you a new hope. That's the big thing with a new mechanism. It's giving people a new hope. We see this a lot in dating, where like someone will go ahead and like, you know, date around, and like they keep getting burnt, and like they're like, hey, I'm never gonna date this type of person again. And then the exact same person comes around again, but like they're different and like by one little thing, and they're like, but they're unique with this one thing right here. That's the unique mechanism right there. It's a new promise. It's a sense of new hope. This was something right here. I screenshot it all the way back from 2022. This is actually by Social Savannah, and this is actually a way for me to actually understand a unique mechanism or a new mechanism being introduced into the marketplace. And basically Social Savannah said, hey, like I'm testing these advanced shopping campaigns, I'm seeing them perform better than the manual campaigns. Yeah, that's literally all she said. And I saw so many people in the comments on this Twitter post like, hey, Facebook ads are terrible for me. I can't wait to give this a try. I hope this helps me out, blah, 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 blah. Basically just a whole bunch of people that were hurt and like in pain with Facebook ads look at this and be like, oh shit, this is a new hope. It's a new possibility and reality that this could actually work for me. And that was the definition of introducing a new mechanism. That's why Meta introduces all these crazy new updates or new mechanisms to get people excited again and to spend more money again on the platform, even if they're not fully functional or fully work and stuff. This is another one right here where I basically just called out the fact that like, hey, I use ChatGPT to skyrocket our Facebook ad creative output. So I called out what people wanted, which is to test more Facebook ads. And I just simply introduced a new mechanism, which is using ChatGPT to test more Facebook ads. This was right when like ChatGPT really started to come out and started being promoted. So it blew up. I mean, had 1,400 people like comment on this. And then here's just like some other stuff right here around new mechanisms going into it. Now, let's go to stage 4, which is the same thing we look at stage 1 to stage 2. Now we're just looking at stage 3 to stage 4. So stage 3 is almost like saying a base claim. Stage 4, we're basically just enlarging on that claim again. At a stage 4, we just simply want to offer more, remove things people hate. So in stage 4, for example, or stage 3, we introduce the idea of testing new creatives. This is a big thing around Facebook ads and stuff, where I was like, hey, you need to start creative testing. Creative testing helps you get better results with Facebook ads. That's a new mechanism introduced to get better success with Facebook ads. Stage 4, we just simply want to look at, okay, well, if people are testing Facebook ads, that's the new mechanism introduced. What is a faster mechanism? Again, it's the same mechanism, but faster. So, or cheaper, or, you know, removing things people hate. So if people are testing creatives, then something faster could be like how to find a new winning creative for your Facebook ad account in under 30 days or in 24 hours. All I'm simply doing is just calling out the mechanism people are doing and just simply highlighting a more faster one in that sense, or a cheaper one, or a simpler one, or without something people hate. That's a stage 4 right there. Now, stage 5, this is where we want to start looking at identity marketing. And basically all we're looking at is we're calling out our market of people that we're going after. So like, let's say Facebook ads, for example, if we go back to 2015, it's just, hey, let me run your Facebook ads. Hey, let me run your Facebook ads. Then obviously from a positioning perspective, I can look at it as a stage 2. Okay, cool. Well, look, I'll run your Facebook ads 30 days. And if you don't beat your current performance, I'll give you $1,000. That's a stage 2. Stage 3, hey, let me run my blitz advertising Facebook ad strategy that's crushing it for all of our clients. I'm introducing a new mechanism. Stage 4 might be like blitz advertising strategy without testing creatives. A stage 5, I might just say, hey, like I don't want to improve my mechanism or anything like that. I'm just going to simply go after a subgroup of people. So like in the Facebook ads particular niche, you have the overall arching structure of Facebook ads. Then you have the different types of niches or, types of business types. So you have e-commerce, you have personal brands, you have local service businesses. And then from there, you can go a level deeper. So if e-com brands, you have supplements, you have clothing, you have gift shops. So let's say supplements, for example. I run Facebook ads for e-com supplement brands. Now you can even go a step further in that, because supplement brands, that can be positioned in health and beauty. That could be, for weight loss. That could be for like skincare. And then you can go even a step further. I help e-commerce supplement brands and the skincare niche boost their revenue with Facebook ads. If someone runs a skincare brand in the e-commerce world and they see your proposal, and it's like, hey, we specifically work with e-commerce brands in the skincare niche, like all of those things, versus just I'll help you run your Facebook ads, the more specific one is going to crush. Now, the reason why we don't go super specific in identity right away is because the market's not big enough yet to go specific in the identity. So that's why it moves up as the market grows, as more and more people are getting into the market. There's enough skincare niches now to build a business around. There's enough people out there selling energy drinks to build a Facebook ad agency specifically around energy drinks. I know people that run Facebook ad agencies specifically only dealing with cannabis stores. And guess what? They're the obvious choice amongst everyone else because they're specific to that one customer avatar. They only serve that customer avatar. We saw this with Under Armour, Gymshark, and Alphalete. Under Armour just had very vague, like, hey, sportswear clothing and stuff. Gymshark came out to go to a sub niche within the Under Armour niche, which was people who just work out, because Under Armour was kind of just everything. Then guess what? Gymshark crushed it, and then Alphalete came around. And instead of trying to compete with Gymshark, Alphalete was like, well, I want to go after the specific like business owners and people that dream more and learn more and all that good stuff from as Alphalete, and that's how they segmented that particular niche of people within that Gymshark niche. So you have to look at market sophistication as a positioning tool, and you want to first look at what the market is now, and you have to determine at what stage do you want to compete in, because you may not have a new mechanism. You may not have a better mechanism. So you have to go niche all the way down from 1 and jump all the way to 5. You may have something new to introduce to the marketplace. For me, that was marketing fundamentals. And that's what, really separated my YouTube channel from everyone else on the marketplace, because I went deep into this marketing psychology that no one else was covering. So all of this becomes more important, and it's more, like I said, a chess match is how you need to look at market sophistication. Where's everybody at now? Let's test one up above it. Or maybe everyone's at a 1, but we can't compete at 1 above, so let's go to a stage 5 right away. So you can jump to a stage right away. That is definitely it. Also, another thing for stage 5, when you're focusing on identity, everything needs to be built around it. Great example is looking at Black Rifle Coffee Company with it's been evaluated over $1 billion, where they had all the other coffee brands, and then the founder of Black Rifle Coffee Company noticed that no coffee brands were specifically for military people. So he went create Black Rifle Coffee Company because he saw all the people in the military drinking coffee, but no one had a military specific brand for coffee. He didn't reinvent the coffee. The coffee was the same. He just simply made all the branding and everything, the product packaging, the website, all the content specifically around the military people. And that made it the obvious choice for people in the military and military enthusiasts. So that's how you need to be looking at the stage 5 market sophistication right there. Now, how do you actually determine market sophistication? Here's a couple things to just look out for. Step number 1, just write down the name of your product, plus the problem it solves, or maybe the desire you're going after, or the symptom you're going after. Yeah, it's also another key thing you have to look at is what are you particularly going after? As mentioned, there's some desires you'll go after that are not sophisticated, and they're like a stage 1. There's some desires you'll go after, it's extremely sophisticated, like the weight loss niche. So that's number 1. Number two, all you want to simply do is just go and basically find the same competitors selling the same product as you. If there's other people selling the same product as you, that's where you really want to look at like a stage 4 sophistication, where it's, all right, well, what are you doing better than them and that people care about? Now, the next thing is you want to go and list the competitors solving the same problem or desire as you, but they're not selling the same product though. So for example, for me in the Facebook ads niche, it's very sophisticated. There's a lot of other Facebook ad agencies selling Facebook ads as a service. So that's one. That's my direct competitors. My indirect competitors are going to be people like Google ads, SEO, TikTok ads, email marketing, these other things that help businesses grow with advertising. So for me, I can go in and introduce a new mechanism for the Facebook ads niche. I can go be a better Facebook ads agency, or I can go ahead and play in like that stage 5 sophistication. That's all going to be key things right there I can look at from a competitive advantage. And then basically after you do all that research, writing all that down, again, if there's other people selling the same product as you and there's other people solving the same problem as you or solving the same desire as you, you're in a more sophisticated market. Now you have to look at where do you want to play at is where you want to look at next. Again, my goal is always to be one stage above. So we've gone over things like desire. We've gone over things like market sophistication. And there's one more last key thing we need to understand before we can actually start going ahead and actually like writing our hooks for our ads. And this is called market awareness. Market awareness is how far or how close someone is to your product itself. There's people that are super unaware to your product, which basically means they're going through life totally fine as is. And the only difference here is that we need to go ahead and create a problem for them and then create that desire for them. Then there's other people that are going through life that are more solution aware, which directly understand what they want. They directly like, hey, this is what I'm looking for, and all we have to do is introduce the product that create that. So we're gonna be going through those 5 stages of market awareness, and this is important to understand because it allows us to look at the 5 stages of market awareness from the perspective of what's the funnel we need inside of our business, specifically our ad account with all the different type of ads we need to create. It also allows me to understand of when we start writing our creative, one, after we have our desire, our market sophistication we want to compete in, but also two, it allows me to understand what's the flow the ad needs to go through. If it's a market that's really unaware, there's a lot more flows that have to go through that ad than say an aware market of people, for example. So looking at this, these are the 5 stages: aware, product aware, solution aware, problem aware, unaware. At an aware side right here, this is the smallest one. It's gonna be the easiest one to sell to, but it's gonna make you the least amount of money. Super easy to sell to, but least amount of money. This one right here, unaware, is extremely hard to sell to, but it's gonna make you the most money when you crack it. Now, anytime I'm running ads inside of an account, I always start off with that aware side, and then I move all the way up to unaware. Now, at an unaware stage, or at an aware stage, these are people that want to buy from you, but they're waiting for the right price. So what do I mean by that? This is people who've already seen all your ads. They've already been to your website. They've literally are 100% sold on your product. They just need some urgency to kind of kick them to move them forward. So great examples here. I like to take whatever offer I have on my website right now and just simply go ahead and just redo it and rebrand it as whatever like I'm pushing currently. So like, for example, spring sale, new sale, all of those things. Next one is just an offer ending soon. So I'll launch those aware ads with my offer. Here's another type of aware ad where just the offer's ending soon, just a last call. I'll launch both this ad and this ad at exactly the same time. And then I'm just saying things like ending soon. So that way it's like, hey, I'm not saying it directly, hey, it ends in 24 hours and run it for 365 days of the year. I'm just simply saying it ends soon because that can be very perspective driven of when soon is. Next one is if we have low stock, I'm literally going to say that. So like, for example, this particular client right here has these custom built things and they were low on stock. So I literally just created an ad basically saying that, hey, we only had a limited left. Again, only ethical if you actually have like stock legitly running out. Next one is just simply new designs added, where it's not necessarily urgency to increase that urgency side, but it's just to simply showcase like other products on the site that are exactly what they've already sold on. We're just simply showcasing some other designs around there. Now, the ad flow for an aware ad is just simply just calling out the offer, and that's it. Now, next stage is product aware. And a product aware is just the second size of like the 5 stages of market awareness. And this one right here are people that seen your ads, they've seen your product, but they're just not sold yet. They still need some trust built up with you. They still have some unanswered questions, unanswered objections. And our goal here is just to simply call those things out. So here, this particular brand right here sells these custom seats for motorcycles, and a lot of people had like various different questions around it. So I went look at all the Facebook comments. I took the top 5 most common questions, and I had a girl film 1 video with each question. Favorite way to go after this is by using the TikTok reply to comment feature. Have that question, film that video, and move on. So we film like 5 to 10 videos around the questions, and each video has a different question. And all we do is simply address that question and answer it to make it easier for people to understand what's like, hey, now that you answered my question, it's easier for me to move forward now. Next one is objections. This is a really great ad that I first discovered a couple years ago, where it's this pet insurance brand, and they called out the simple fact that pet insurance is a scam, because that was a common objection that people had across the market. And they just simply had this girl address that objection, showcase why that objection is not true, and then there you go. That's it. So again, if you have objections towards your products, you'll see these in the comments on Facebook ads, all of those things. And then you'll just simply go grab that objection, answer it, and move on. Testimonial. A lot of people fuck up with testimonials because they either go from one extreme to the other. They'll either use some bullshit like great product in the testimonial, whereas like literally that's all they'll say. Just be like, great product, Ginny P. The other thing that people fuck up with testimonials is that they'll go to the other side where it's like, you know, hey, drinking this C4 energy drink allowed me to build a 7-figure marketing agency, buy a Lamborghini, and all that good stuff. I highly recommend. It's so over the top that people are going to look at you and think you're a scammer, because it's so unbelievable to the average consumer in that particular case right there. So you want to be right in the middle. Here's a great example right here. Makes my closet so much neater for these organizational things that we have. Authority. So this is the next stage of like product aware ads you can run. There's 3 different types of authority. The first type of authority is just simply calling out the fact that, hey, I have 10 years of experience running Facebook ads, and this blah, blah, blah works so well. The other type of authority is social influence. As a YouTuber with 50,000 subscribers, or from teaching people how to run Facebook ads, here's what I recommend. And then the last type of authority is a job description. As a lawyer, as a doctor, like things that people specifically look at. Now, not everyone has the budget to pay a lawyer or pay a doctor to endorse their product. So for me, it's important to look at what are other ways we can leverage authority. Maybe we can't leverage influence. Maybe we can't leverage job description. So the thing we're going to go after is more of the, aspect of experience. This example right here, this particular client, we just used someone with 500,000 Instagram followers. We paid her to do a video of our product right there. Now, the last one is other products similar. So at a product aware stage, you have to imagine that they have your website and all your competitors' websites pulled up side by side, comparing all the same product and trying to figure out which one they want to go with. Back when I bought this house about a year ago, over a year and a half ago, I was buying this new TV for my living room, and it was the first time I bought a TV in probably 5 years. And I remember I had 5 different TVs, all exactly the same size from 5 different brands, pulled up my screen. I'm just comparing the stats of each one to figure out which one I wanted to go after. Where a lot of people fuck up at is they talk bad about the competitor from an emotional perspective. You want to talk bad about the competitor in a logical perspective. The difference here is, let's just say, for example, this iPhone has a 15 or 16 megapixel camera. LG or Samsung could say, well, ours has a 20 megapixel camera, and literally can say iPhone 15 megapixels, LG 20 megapixels. You're not saying things from an emotional perspective. You're saying things from a logical perspective. All logical information that can be found on the manufacturer website. It's important here you not go to the emotional side, because how many of you have friends or people that's just always talking bad about people, and then they tell you something important and you're just like, I don't really believe that guy. He's always talking shit about people or talking bad about people. So you want to make sure you refrain it from a logical side that's clear for anyone to see on their manufacturer's websites if you're going to create an ad about someone else. So other products similar, it's super important right there to understand. Now, that's going to be your product aware ads. Again, you're just going to basically go after one of those angles, call out the question, answer the question. By the way, here's our spring sale offer. Boom, done. And then you can do that with any one of these 5 right here. Now, solution aware, we're starting to move up in what I call the first stages of cold traffic. Product aware and aware are more remarketing traffic. Now, I'm still going to run those in my CBO campaign going after cold audiences, because Facebook is going to take that content in that ad and target people based off their awareness stage in the count. So I don't need to go set up a remarketing audience, but I can upload those remarketing ads to a cold audience, and Facebook automatically do the remarketing for me. Now, for solution aware, problem aware, and unaware, these are more of our cold traffic ads. We're just reaching a cold audience of people. So in this particular stage, these are people who want what your product does, but don't know what the product is yet. This is where we need to call out what they want, then introduce our product. So going back to that bridge example I made in Desire chapter, where we actually literally go ahead and just call it the simple fact of like, hey, people want to cross the bridge, but it's dark, it's murky, and all those things like that, and they're scared. This is basically that bridge example right there. So we want to call out what they want and then show them that product. This is a great example right here where we called out the desire for a fun girls' night, and then we just simply introduced this product here. Hey, you want this fun night? Here you go. Here's a product that will give you that night. We just simply call out what people want and then show them the product that can help them achieve that. Now, next one is call out a faster solution. Here's a product we're working with for one of our clients. And basically the traditional way to like sight in like a firearm or like a scope is to like manually go to the range and like spend time doing like round for round and stuff like that. So people wanted a faster way to sight in their scope. So all I simply did was just call out, here's a faster way to sight in your scope, and then boom, here's the product to achieve that. Here's a cheaper solution. I think a lot of people make the mistake of thinking, oh, hey, I don't want my brand to be seen as cheaper, it's going to devalue it. That's actually false. I want people to see my brand as cheaper relative to another solution, not another product, another solution, because this makes the reality of me buying a lot easier here. So in this example here, when this Pilates bar became a better trainer than your overpriced gym coach. So we're just simply calling the fact that, hey, this Pilates bars is a cheaper solution than an overpriced gym coach. Very simple. It's a cheaper solution we introduced. Now, here's a simpler solution. Simpler solution just means that, hey, it's not necessarily easy. I guess you could say easy is another way to say that. This is a great example from AG1 right here, where it's like, hey, here's 25, 30 different vitamins you're taking now. Oh, you have to buy all these each month, maybe go to a store and pick them up. How about just getting that in one powder you take every morning when you wake up? It's a simpler solution. Now, here's another one. Call out a solution without what they hate. It's actually funny because when I was trying to grow my agency back in like 2017, 2018, I was like sending hundreds of cold emails every single day to build my agency and stuff. And what happened is I remember seeing an ad one day, how to build or how to scale your Facebook ads agency without sending cold emails. I immediately clicked on that ad because I hated sending cold emails every day. So when you call out what they want without what they currently doing that they hate, it strikes this newness to it that makes people want to click. So here's a great example right here for one of our clients where we called out, hey, you'll get tipsy, which is what they want, without the sip, because they didn't want to be drinking alcohol anymore. Now for here, all we simply want to do is just call out that solution. Basically go ahead and answer those objections, questions, social proof, all of those things, and then show that offer. Now stage 4 is problem aware. These are people that have a problem and that's it. They're struggling with a problem. They want to be done with this problem. They don't want a benefit. They don't want a product. They just want to stop dealing with this problem. Here's a great example right here. We called out the problem of being lazy, and we just introduced this thing, anti-lazy elixir. I've seen this before in like the 60+ niche with people selling like knee joint products where it's like bad knees ? And then boom, they introduce this type of solution and stuff like that around it. So another great example right there. Here's one right here where we just simply call out the problem, but a faster way to solve the problem. So again, very similar to solution aware. We're just simply calling out that problem and then going ahead and just introducing that new solution. So this is actually a video ad right here. And this is like 2 or 3 seconds in, so it's not the full thing. But in this particular video ad right here, we just basically called out a cheaper way to solve the problem. So this was for some underwear specifically for bladder leaks for women 60+. And what we did was we called out bladder leaks ? Here's how to solve it without surgery
or medication, because it was very expensive. From all of our market research, people were tired of using surgery or medication because it was really expensive, and we just simply want to showcase a cheaper way to solve that problem. Now, the next one is call out a simpler way to solve that problem. So here, we just simply called out the problem, and we just called the fact that this is the easiest way. I wouldn't say it's probably the best way to showcase it, but it was one of them that worked well for us. Now, this is actually something funny because I had to put it here because I wanted to show what happens to y'all when you disrespect these. So all I did was call out the problem without what they hate. So I put this thing on Twitter, which is just one of my YouTube videos. I re-uploaded to Twitter, and I said, do this to fix bad Facebook performance. I called out a problem people had, and I just simply called the fact that, hey, watch this video and boom. Now, this person right here, basically just said like, hey, they already knew. That's probably just about something around making better creatives. So if I really wanted to make this pop better, I could say, do this to fix bad Facebook performance without testing new creatives. And that could have just made it pop a little bit better. Ad flow. We'll call out the problem, we'll introduce the solution, we'll go through that product aware stage, and then the offer stage. Now, next stage is the stage 5, which is the unaware, which again, this would be the largest one. This is the hardest one to sell to. And then this one is also where the most money's made. Now, just to restate this again, in any time we take on a new account, whether they've spent $1 on advertising or spent nothing on advertising, we're starting off at aware and just testing all stages. I'm not testing a stage until it works. I'm just creating ads for that stage and moving on. I'm not sitting there and staying at a stage. I'm moving through all of these. So these are people who are going live normally, and it's your goal to create a problem and need for a product. Here's a great example. One of my favorite unaware ads that I first discovered. It's this particular product, and it's showing a symptom, which is like a kid crying in a store, and calling out a symptom, which is stressed mom. This is a great example right here of something that just makes moms oh my God, I would hate to have that particular scenario. They call out this symptom, then they go into the problem, which is hidden hunger, then go into the solution, which is a multivitamin for kids, and then the product aware and aware stage. So that's the key thing here with that video. Next one's a big win. This particular client right here, they were just helping people lower their electric bill. And because people weren't directly going after and trying to find a way to lower the electric bill, it was just kind of something they were just oh, whatever. I'm just going to accept the fact that I have a high electric bill. This is a great example of a big win where we were helping people lower their electric bill. And then the reason why it's considered unaware, because it wasn't something directly people were trying to solve. So what we did at this particular stage is, here's how to lower your electric bill. The problem, which was your AC's running all day. The solution, which is sealing up your attic space with insulation. Then product aware, that particular client's company, and then aware. Then here's one for hidden fear. I can't go too deep into this one because we're on NDA, but I can at least show you all this part right here. We're just calling out a particular market, and we're using a hidden fear of owing money to people. And then we go into the problem it solves, then we go to the solution, and then boom, right there. And again, ad flow for this: big winner, hidden fear, diagnose the problem, introduce solution, answer those questions, objection questions, increase trust, offer. Now, for this, here's just some other examples right here. We went over the solution and stuff. I know we went over this in the video around desire, but this is going to be a lot of where your solution aware state is: to look fit and attractive, to feel confident in their own skin. So to feel confident in their own skin, that's a stage 1 market sophistication. And we're calling out the desire, and we're calling out the solution aware. Whereas, say for example, if we're going after solution aware stage 2 market sophistication, here's how to feel confident in your own skin within 30 days or you get your money back. Then there's stage 3, which is introduce a new mechanism. Still solution aware, but introducing a new mechanism. ABC is getting people to feel confident in their own skin. ABC would just be the name of that new mechanism. People never heard of that mechanism before. It strikes new hope. And then stage 4, then stage 5, from a market sophistication side, all around solution aware. Now, problems, these are actual problems people are facing. And this is your problem aware stage. So if you're struggling with low self-esteem, boom, that's the problem. Are you living paycheck to paycheck? If so, here's a way you can add extra money to your bank account through Facebook ads agency, and then introducing that solution for that. So you just simply go through these problems. You start off with a problem like, hey, are you living paycheck to paycheck? I remember when I used to do that. It sucks so bad. I remember this one time, couldn't even, buy a burger. Luckily, I found this thing called Facebook ads agency, and here's all the cool things it allowed me to do. blah, blah, blah. Then you have the symptoms. Hey, if you can't sleep at night, that's a sign you have obesity. If you have obesity, the easiest way to solve that is by losing weight, desire. One of my favorite ways to lose weight right now is using the keto diet. Well, that's technically the solution right there. Then go to product aware and aware stage. So these are more of the symptom sides. Can't sleep at night, clothes don't fit right, almost tired or low energy, avoid social situations, constantly checking the bank account. Symptoms, problems, desires. Now, I'm not going to go off the product aware or aware and show you examples because I already showed you examples, and those are going to be more specific to what your audience is asking you for that stage right there. So now that we know about desire, we know about market awareness, we know about market sophistication, now it's time to actually go and start applying these. And before we can actually start writing our ad, we need to actually understand our audience. And once we understand our audience, then we can start writing our ad and actually apply all those concepts we just learned about. So today, we're actually going to be diving into more of the market research side and actually going to spend 30 minutes just simply researching and showing you some of the things that I like to look at when it comes down to the research side. So I'm just going to basically go to ChatGPT and say, hey, I want to be a millionaire selling products on Shopify. Please give me a list of hot products to test. And we're going to let ChatGPT pick us out a product real quick, just so that way it can try to be like as unbiased as possible. Heated eyelash curlers. That's actually a pretty good one right there. LED car sign boards. I want to pick a product that is also a little challenging, so that way you guys can really see me, get into it. So I'm going to choose this Sonic tooth cleaner, and I'm basically just going to go try to find one real quick online and figure out what this is. Sonic dental. All right, so this like cleans your retainer. Okay, cool. So this is for powerful, portable, and precision cleaning in your home. Is this your retainer? What is this? Invisalign, retainers, night guards. Okay. All right, cool. So this will be our product we're going to use to basically kind of proceed with like the market research and stuff. I'm going to click on a new chat right there. And I just made this new document. I'm going to call this first little tab right here called product info. And what we're going to do is go ahead and just simply, let me delete this ID because I want just the base page. I'm going to copy that, and I'm actually going to go to ChatGPT, click on the little search feature right here. I'm just going to say, here is my product link. Please describe the features, the benefits, uses for my product, how it works, and how it works, description of the product, and all the reviews for the product. Basically, just trying to get some data from ChatGPT. All right, I'm gonna copy that. That'll be my product info. If y'all watch the ChatGPT training already, y'all know where this is going from. Benefits, use cases, reviews. All right, cool. So got our product info. Now we're just gonna call this market research. All right, so good thing is this is a complex product, so you're gonna really see me be able to work here. This product right here has a few use cases. So Invisalign aligners, retainers, night guards, and mouth guards. Is an advanced ultrasonic and UV oral appliance cleaner. So that's gonna be something I'm gonna search. So I'm gonna cite whatever this little is, whatever these little dots are called, reddit.com, and I'm just gonna type in oral appliance cleaner. See what type of stuff we find. Ultrasonic dental appliance cleaners, a good ultrasonic cleaner for teeth retainers. That's a good article to look at. What's an ultrasonic cleaner that actually works? Okay, so these are some pretty good ones for what I would say like almost your product aware side as well. Ultrasonic cleaner retainer. I see a lot of mixed reviews in the Zima dental pod. I don't know what Zima is, so I'm just not going to click on it. Next thing I'm going to start looking at, what are some of these other things? So oral hygiene. So it cleans retainers. So I'm just going to type in something around the lines of clean retainer. See what pops up around that. How do I clean your retainers? There we go. Cleaning your tray retainers. Best way to clean a retainer. How do you clean and maintain your cleaner? What is the white stuff of retainers? How can I clean it? How do you clean your retainer? All right, so this would be a good start one right there. I'll type in like Invisalign as well. Invisalign retainer. Also make sure, you see how I just did that? It removed the dots. Make sure you keep the dots like that. It just cleans that up, how it's sent over to you. Do I need a really rare retainer forever? Can someone explain how this retainer is supposed to work? Where are your retainers after Invisalign? Let me see. Clean Invisalign. Let's see what pops up around that. How do you clean yours? r/Invisalign. How frequently should I clean my Invisalign? Quick ways to clean Invisalign. All right, so it's definitely looking very solution aware because they want to clean their product. They want a clean product. They just don't know how. It's not really a problem. Problem would be like, you know, my thing is super dirty, but then like also to like, you know, it's the awareness stage right there is pretty solution aware. So we're gonna start going through some of this and then just start like pulling and piecing together different research. And I'm gonna actually try to do something a little different, make this a little easier. I'm gonna pull that to that side of the screen, pull that up, and then I'm gonna go ahead and just do this. Make it a little easier for me to like start putting in some of my notes and stuff like that. A good ultrasonic cleaner for teeth retainers. And then I'm just gonna make sure I got my market research doc posted up. People are looking for a good ultrasonic cleaner for teeth retainers. I'm looking for an ultrasonic cleaner retainers like Invisalign. I've done a ton of searching, but it seems to be one of those products that has thousands of cheap, quick to break versions of 2D products, a ton of paid reviews. Ooh, that's a good comment right there. I'm just gonna add that in. Someone got experience with them and knows a good bring. All right. Polydient denture tabs, which also work great for removing stains from stainless steel. Sodium denture tabs, which work great for removing stains from stainless steel. And oh, okay, so that's like one of the solutions right there. What I'm using is Clear Club, Form Clear, also teeth whitening ingredients. All I have to do is place the foam into my retainer, white on my teeth, and boom. All right, that's pretty cool. All right, so some people use these retainer bright tabs for a bit now. So I guess it's just like using cleaning tabs over long periods of time. All right, I'm just gonna go to the next one. I want to go through a few different ones just to see what like people are talking about. It's a good question people have right there. All right, so this market's extremely competitive. So this is definitely gonna be a very sophisticated market because we've already identified a couple different, what I would say, mechanisms right now. You can get these tablets, it seems like, that you just drop in water. And then the other thing you can do is that they have these ultrasonic cleaners, which is the new mechanism that's been introduced. And so far it looks like there's one called Zima, and then there's the one we're promoting, which is the Sonicare right there. So that's gonna be something interesting right there that I wanna highlight. I'm also going to do something cool for y'all. I don't know if this is gonna work or not. So this market is really sophisticated. There is multiple different types of solutions currently on the marketplace to clean the oral, you know, whether it's a retainer or Invisalign. So far, tablets is one of the main go-tos. And then the other thing is these ultrasonic cleaners. Cool. That's also something really cool I like to use for research for you guys. Oh, this is a big one right here. Another solution that people are using is just simply brushing their retainer with their toothbrush, but this can actually create a negative impact on the quality of the retainer as it breaks down the material on the surface of the retainer, which actually just makes it easier for like bacteria and stuff to grow inside of it. All right, so just gonna quickly go through here. Spend about 5 more minutes on this. But long story short, what I'm pulling in here is I'm just trying to understand the customer, trying to understand the problems, trying to understand the products. I'm trying to understand, you know, what solutions they failed with, what are some of the beliefs people have. I'm just pulling all that into a research doc here, which we're later going to use in a little bit. So far right now, there's the Smile Direct ultrasonic cleaner. Then there's the Zima Dental Pod ultrasonic cleaner as other competitors in the market that are direct competitors to us. Oh, this is a good comment of like why people clean a lot. I really like that. That's all good stuff. How do y'all clean your retainers? Ooh, they smell hell musky from doing that. So all right, cool. All right, I definitely need to understand about these tablets. What makes these tablets just not great? So that's gonna be another thing I have to look up at. So yeah, so that's definitely a big thing with brushing them. All right, cool. So there's also these tablets. I'm gonna be very curious on the tablets. I'm gonna have to look that up in a second. So I'd be very curious here with the cleaning tabs. If that's a weekly thing people have to do, what's the cost gonna be of those tablets versus say this Sonic Pod that it seems like you don't need that at all. So that would be very curious to be looking at. So again, look how many different solutions. We're seeing hydrogen peroxide. One thing I'm not seeing right now is I'm not really seeing any negatives about some of these solutions. So that's also like another big thing for me. These are all different solutions. We can do hydrogen peroxide. We can do these tablets. We can do retainer bright. We can do these ultrasonic cleaners. So ultrasonic cleaner, tablets, toothbrush, and then hydroperoxide. These are all different solutions. One thing I'm not really seeing here is I'm not really seeing any blatantly obvious problems with these solutions besides like the toothbrush one. The toothbrush one, a very obvious problem is the fact that it's going to mess up the retainer and there's gonna be more bacteria and stuff like that. So for me, it's, if I'm not seeing an obvious problem across these other solutions, that means that it's going to be more difficult for me to position this product in the marketplace because people aren't necessarily upset with their current solution. So if they're not upset with their current solution, they're not going to be looking for new solutions. It's like a relationship where in a relationship, both partners are happy and 100% content to each other. It's going to be very hard to break those people up. But if one partner's dissatisfied about something and it's going to be easier for another partner to catch their attention here. In this particular case, our partners are very satisfied with each other besides the toothbrush people. So the toothbrush people, that can be one of the ways we can go after that particular solution. And we'll probably actually have to go at it from more of an unaware stage because people are completely unaware to the fact that their toothbrush is damaging their, what I would say, retainer right now. So if they're completely unaware to the fact that it's damaging the retainer, then we're gonna have to go opening it up as an unaware market. Then go into the problem, it's damaging it, and the bacteria build up, and then the safest solution. So I think that's the way we're gonna position that and start writing those particular ads. With that being said, we're gonna do that in the next video, but this is a good start right here for the market research side. Now we're going to go into the actual start to scripting and putting together the headlines itself. Let's dive into the next one. So we've gone over marketing fundamentals like desire, awareness, sophistication. Then we did market research around a ultrasonic cleaner for retainers. And then now we're actually going to go and start writing our headlines today following all of those key things that we understood from our market research and based off those fundamentals we did. So today, let's dive right into it. We're actually going to start taking that research and actually putting it into action. One of the things that we understand about this particular market itself is that these are people that are wearing retainers. That's the big one that they're looking at. And they're looking at the long term for taking care of these retainers. And they want to clean it. They desire a clean retainer. They want to be proactive about their oral hygiene right there. So that's what they desire. Now, if we look at it from a market sophistication perspective, there's a lot of different mechanisms on the marketplace to clean your retainer. You can use oral tablets, or these tablets you drop in like a glass with your retainer. You can go ahead and take a toothbrush and scrub down your retainer. You can go ahead and get the ultrasonic cleaner, which is what we're promoting. And then the other way is just simply using hydrogen peroxide. So there's kind of different ways to satisfy that desire of a clean retainer. Now, the problem here with our positioning of our product here is that our product is a higher priced product. It's a ultrasonic cleaner, and it's a machine. It's a little higher ticket than, say, for example, looking at it from the perspective of, like a tablet you just drop in the glass. Now, tablets do get expensive over time compared to an ultrasonic cleaner, and toothbrush damages the retainer, which could be way more than ultrasonic cleaner. So because there's a solution where market people wanting to clean a retainer, they obviously know what they want. That's kind of what we're going to approach it from. Now, from a positioning perspective, a sophistication though, this is where it becomes a problem. There's no specific, what I would say, or not necessarily a positioning perspective from sophistication, a positioning perspective of market awareness. It's that, yes, there's solution aware. The problem with directly going after solution aware is that it's so competitive right now. And there's no clear pain points people have with the current solution they have. But there's one solution though we can attack. And that particular solution is using your toothbrush to clean your retainer. We can attack that solution and throw stones at that solution because it's breaking down the retainer. Because it's breaking down the retainer, we can tie that directly to cost that people are, using, like the cost of basically going ahead and having to replace a retainer and stuff, like all of those good things. So we're gonna be diving into that today and actually writing some hooks and writing that script and stuff. So first thing we're going to do is just simply go ahead and I'm just going to create me a new tab in here. I call this Add Ideas. Got my market research. I'm going to go ahead and download that PDF. I'm going to download my product info PDF. I'm going to go and create a new ChatGPT. I'm going to go ahead and click upload. I'm going to upload both of those to it. And then basically I'm just going to go ahead and tell ChatGPT, this is 2 documents I've given you on my business. One of them is a market research doc, and the other is a document with all my product info. Moving forward, I only want you to use these 2 documents. You are not allowed to use any prior knowledge or other online resources. Repeat back to me the instructions. All right, so now what I wanted to do is I wanted to start writing me hooks. Now, I understand the stage of market awareness I want to go after, which is I want to go after unaware. Now, I know what y'all thinking, like, well, Nick, what's solution aware? I completely agree with you on solution aware. But what I want to do is I actually want to call out people that are currently happy with a product and then make them aware of a problem that they're completely unaware to, which is damaging their retainer by using this, what I would call brushing their thing with, a toothbrush. So we're going to open up a stage 3 sophistication because we're going to introduce a new mechanism and they're unaware to this new mechanism. So that's going to be the goal, and the desire is still to clean their retainer. So we're going to give ChatGPT that, and I'm going to use my little voice thing here to make this a little easier. As a female Instagram influencer with over 1 million followers in the lifestyle niche, I want you to create me a hook that calls out people who are currently using a toothbrush to clean their retainer. There we go. I like this one. Wait, are you still scrubbing your retainer with a toothbrush every morning? All right, I'm gonna copy that. So that'll be my hook. So let's just review this hook. So wait, are you still scrubbing your retainer with a toothbrush every morning? This is a good hook right here because we're calling out the fact that people are using a toothbrush to scrub their retainer. Now that we got those people's attention, let's actually go deeper into this now and actually start writing the rest of the ad. So we got their attention. We're approaching the correct market awareness. We're correcting the proper market sophistication. And the desire is still there of cleaning the retainer. We just have to kind of go a little bit further everything. Using this hook, my ideal customer is using toothbrush to clean their retainer, but are completely unaware to the idea that using that toothbrush creates micro adhesions to the retainer, which actually creates the problem of more bacteria buildup as it falls in those cracks of those adhesions. The solution to this is switching over to a ultrasonic cleaner. All right, cool. Wait, are you still scrubbing your retainer with a toothbrush every morning? I used to do the same thing, thinking it was clean just because it looked clean. But here's what nobody tells you. Brushing your retainer with a toothbrush actually creates tiny scratches called microadhesions all over the surface. And guess what loves to hide in those little cracks? Bacteria. So the more you brush, the more bacteria builds up. That musky smell you wake up to, that cloudy look over time, that's not just wear and tear, it's a breeding ground. I made the switch to an ultrasonic cleaner and it changed everything. No more gross buildup, no more scrubbing, just a deep dentist level clean in minutes while I'm sipping my matcha. If you're serious about your hygiene and your smile, it's time to start brushing and start actually cleaning, or time to stop brushing and start actually cleaning. All right, so this is good. What we need to dive more into, so I'm just gonna copy this now and we're actually gonna start editing this in my ad idea sheet. So this is good. Wait, are you still scrubbing your retainer for a toothbrush every morning? I used to do the same thing, thinking it was just clean, because it looked clean. But here's what nobody tells you. Brushing your retainer for a toothbrush actually creates tiny scratches called microadhesions all over the surface. And guess what loves to hide in those little cracks? Bacteria. So the more you brush, the more bacteria builds up. The musty smell you wake up to, that cloudy look over time, that's not just wear and tear, it's a breeding ground. I made the switch to an ultrasonic cleaner and changed everything. No more gross buildups, no more scrubbing, just a deep, dense level clean in minutes while I'm sipping my matcha. If you're serious about your hygiene, your smile, it's time to stop brushing and start actually cleaning. Okay, so this is good. I like this. This is like what I would say like 80% there. What I don't like about this is that we could probably go a little bit more into the more you brush, the more bacteria builds up. And this is where like I would like to go more into like that smell, making it worse over time. So I'm actually going to say all that. This looks really good. Couple changes I would like to dive into. Number one, going deeper into the smell and just really twisting that knife around that bacteria building up, and just how like more it gets smelly, the more it looks worse. And then ultimately you'll have to replace that retainer. This is where I really want to dive into the price point of replacing a retainer versus the price point of what our ultrasonic cleaner is in the ad. So that way we can actually go ahead and make our product seem cheaper, even though it actually is more expensive than brushing it. The next thing I want to do is go deeper into painting that picture of them using the ultrasonic cleaner and how much more better their life is now that they switched over to that ultrasonic cleaner. So that way they can really twist the positive knife and really increase that desire for this product. All right, sweet. So this actually looks way better now that I go about it. All right, this is actually really good here. So there's quite a few things that we're gonna hit on now, and we're actually gonna go into the other half of like building the rest of the ad as well, because there's a couple key things I want to talk about. So we're hitting that unaware market. Wait, are you still scrubbing your retainer for toothbrush every morning? So we're hitting that unaware market. These are people that are currently using that toothbrush, and we're just kind of, the way we're framing this, wait, are you still scrubbing your retainer for a toothbrush every morning, with the shocking face? We're just kind of giving that people that face like, what? That brings people in to be like, from a curious perspective, and that's be an unaware market. Then what we're doing is we're making people aware of a problem here. Every time you brush your retainer, you are creating tiny scratches, micro adhesions where your bacteria, settle in. You can't see them, but you can smell them. That sour, musky funk that hits you in the morning, that's bacteria breeding overnight inside those cracks. Now we're creating that problem for people. So we called out what they're doing, and then we're just basically creating that problem for them, which is like, hey, it's making your retainer a bacteria breeding ground. The more you brush, the worse it gets, cloudy, yellowing, and straight up nasty. All right, so now it's just like, boom, I understand. And here's the worst part. Eventually you have to replace the whole retainer. That's $200 to $500 out of pocket. I do not even know what the average retainer replacement cost. I don't even know what that is, but let's just see real quick if there's a thing. All right, well, looks like it's about right. Now compare that to a one-time investment ultrasonic cleaner under $150. So we just basically said that, hey, that's $200 to $500 out of pocket, or a one-time cost of under $150. That deep cleans without damaging a retainer. Very good job. It uses high frequency sound waves and UVC light to wipe out 99% of the bacteria. No scrubbing, no chemicals, no stink. I just pop mine in while I eat breakfast. In 5 minutes, it's crystal clear, odor-free, and actually feels clean. It's like post-dental cleaning freshness every single morning. So the choice is simple. Keep scrubbing, eventually pay the price, or upgrade your routine and never deal with that grossness again. Very good job here. So what this basically does is now we're unaware market, creating a problem for them, highlighting the solution for them, and then now here's how to use the product, and then boom, like this looks good. This looks very good right here. So what I would do now with this is that this is going to be like my video script here. So this is going to be like the script of what the creator will say to the camera. Now what I'll do is I'll say, here is my script below. Please add B-roll to each line. Boom, paste that in, and then watch what happens here. Wait, are you still scrubbing your retainer for a toothbrush every morning? B-roll, a girl in her bathroom aggressively scrubbing a cloudy retainer for a toothbrush. So like I would literally come, add all this in. And then what I like to do is I like to like highlight what they got to say and then B-roll. Now I'm not going to do this for everyone because it's just going to be really time intensive, and I want to respect your time and attention who's watching this video. So boom, B-roll, close up of the retainer surface under a fake microscope view showing bacteria crawling or multiplying. Boom. Oh, these are good too. These are really good ideas. Yeah. So I basically just kind of go through and do all this. I did the B-roll here. I can go and edit that. I'm not going to use directly what ChatGPT tells me. I'm going to go ahead and edit that a little bit and stuff. But yeah, that'll be my whole script. And what I'll do is I'll go to like instance.pro, hire a creator in instance.pro, send them the product, and then send them that script for them to talk to the camera and stuff like that. Now, there's a couple other things I like to look at here that we did. I just want to be very clear on. There's a couple, what I would say, tools we used in this document. And the first one is that the whole twisting the knife, we made the problem seem a little bit worse than it actually is, and that just makes it more important. The second thing is I made our product seem cheaper by comparing to the cost of this problem continuing on. That's a big one right there. So that way, before I even told them what my product is, I first mentioned that, hey, this could cost you $200 to $500. And if I really wanted to be clever, I could just say $500 out of pocket. Now our product's only $150. Seems cheaper than it actually is. And then I call out basically all the things that people don't like and then highlight it how our product works. All of this looks good. So this is solid. Obviously I would add in the rest of the B-roll and all of those good things. Now, what we're going to do in the next video, because this is almost ready. The next thing that we have to look at now is the landing page we want to send this product to. Now, there's two kind of different landing pages we can approach this from. We can do an advertorial perspective, and then we can also do a listicle perspective. And I'll probably do both in the next video. So stay on the lookout. So as mentioned in the last video where we went over like actually building out the script and stuff for our product, just kind of like re-scratch back for a second. Like we went over desire, we went over awareness, we went over market sophistication, we went over the research side, went over to creating the hook and how we want to position this product in the marketplace. And then we even got a script put together. Now we need to look at where do we want to send traffic? And yes, we can send it to the product page, but because of the mental loop of what we're taking people through, like they're completely unaware. And yes, we made them aware of our product in our ad, but they still need a little bit more convincing. And this is where I'd love to introduce a product or a landing page. And this is going to be one thing that we're going to do before we actually go and create the Facebook ads now. So here we're going to go and start building out a landing page. I'm going to show you all some cool AI GPT stuff to help out with that. So I'm just gonna basically go back to GPT and stuff. I'm just gonna start a whole new chat. And then I'm gonna basically go ahead and I have this landing page inspiration doc. I'm not gonna provide y'all a link to it, but if you just so happen to screenshot this video and go and copy this URL into it, you'll find this exact doc. If not, if you're too lazy for that, then just join my inner circle and you'll get that. So I wanna do an advertorial and I wanna do a listicle. I'm just gonna download both those documents. It's a big document, so takes a second. And then I'm gonna pop that open real quick. I think the first one, let me just double check real quick. Yeah, first one's an advertorial. So I'm just gonna call this, you don't have to rename these, but it just makes it easier for me. Advertorial inspiration, and then landing page inspiration. This one is going to be listicle. There we go. Cool. So we're going to do a couple of these. So this is the advertorial one. I'm uploading my research document. I'm uploading my product document, all of those good things. I've uploaded 3 different documents. One, advertorial inspiration with examples of advertorials, product doc, research doc. There we go. So this is gonna be an advertorial, and I'm basically just gonna kind of go over the same thing that I told it for the very first, like if you watch the script one, I'm just basically do the same thing. So I'm gonna turn on my mic real quick. Please create me an advertorial starting with people who currently use their toothbrush to clean their retainer, then going into the problem of it creating micro adhesions or tiny scratches in the retainer, which creates the problem of bacteria, and really twist the knife on that bacteria of how it being musky and discolored and just nasty. Then transitioning into the cost of basically buying a new retainer versus the cost of investing into our ultrasonic cleaner. Then go into all the benefits and how to use our product and how amazing our product is. There we go. All right, well that's writing. I'm actually gonna go ahead and I'm gonna fire up ClickFunnels. That's what I personally use to do my landing pages. You can use ClickFunnels, you can use whatever software you want. It doesn't matter to me. This is just personally what I like to do for my landing pages. I'm still technically going to use like Shopify in this sense right here, which I'm not going to go create a Shopify store or anything like that. I'm just prefacing y'all. I'm just going to call this YouTube example, build funnel. And then I'm actually have an example advertorial template that I've already made. So I'm just going to select that template right there. And then from here, this is where I'll just go ahead and just start copying all this in. All right, so let's look at this real quick. Let's first read it just to see. I used to brush my retainer with a toothbrush until I learned this nasty truth. Oh, I literally like how they twist the pain right there real quick. If you're like most retainer or liner wearers, you're probably just gonna give it a quick scrub with a toothbrush every morning and call it a day. I'm not gonna go through all this. I don't want to bore you guys. Boom, boom, boom. Here's it. Maybe even rinse it under cold water because your ortho told you not to use anything else. And sure, it looks clean, but here's the little dirty truth nobody tells you. You're not cleaning your retainer, you're scratching it. Turns out using a toothbrush on your retainer, even a softest one, can cause microscopic abrasions on the surface. Tiny grooves are little to barely visible eye, but these tiny scratches, they're prime real estate for bacteria. They trap gunk, they breed odor, and over time you're left with a retainer that's cloudy like a wet gym sock. All right, so this is really good. I really like the wet gym sock dipped in coffee breath. That's disgusting. You wouldn't lick the floor of a subway station, but popping in a bacteria riddled smelly retainer first thing every morning, kind of the same thing. That funky smell you've noticed lately, the bacteria fermenting in your tray overnight. Boom, boom, boom. Here's the worst part, trying to scratch your D-raid. Cool. So calling out the replacement. What if you could keep your retainer crystal clean without scratching, smelling, or spending hundreds? Meet the Sonic Pro. Dentist approved. Boom, boom, boom. Here's how it works. That's really good. Why is it smarter than buying a new retainer? Ready to toss the toothbrush. Add water. All right, this is solid. This is a pretty good, what I'd say, advertorial right here. Is it like 100% perfect? No, but what we did in 9 minutes so far, like this is phenomenal. And basically all I would do is just come in here and start like changing all this up, this little template here. I'm not going to add everything because it's going to take way too long, but just to kind of give y'all some context, how I'll put that together. Good Lord, I'm getting all confused over here. Put that like right here. There we go. Boom. Delete this. Yeah. And then like, obviously like you guys get the point. I'll just go and I'll just start adding everything in. And then, you know, I'm not going to copy all of it, but just to like give y'all context, basically I'd replace all of this. And then like at the end, boom, here's my offer. I would go change this check availability. Obviously that would go to like our, which is, I don't even know if I even have the product info. Yeah. So basically I just go put that link right there to that product page that we're sending traffic. And there we go. And then we have a fire advertorial like set up and ready to run for this. And then basically the creatives that I created under ad ideas right here, these creatives will go to that advertorial. Now, maybe I want to test an advertorial and a listicle. So then I'd basically just go do the same thing, except I'm actually going to change up the advertorial a bit. So I'm just going to copy this real quick. I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to upload all of this. I'm going to upload my computer, but I'm going to do listicle instead of advertorial. I'm going to do listicle inspiration, listicle. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this run. Now, instead of saying like 10 reasons why you need to stop brushing your retainer, I'm actually going to take a different approach here. It's, hey, we just made people interested in our product and like, holy shit, this is awesome. Now let's send them to like a 5 reasons or 10 reasons why you need this type of product right here. So I'm just going to say, please create me a listicle for my product. And let's just kind of see what happens from here. I'm just kind of curious and see where ChatGPT goes, and then we can actually do our, you know, like our own personal like tweaking and stuff like that. 7 smart reason everyone's switching to this ultrasonic cleaner for dental devices in 2025. I may change dental devices to like retainers. 7 smart everyone's switching to this ultrasonic cleaner for retainers in 2025, just because it's going to be a little bit more specific to our audience. And then here, keeping your dental appliances clean shouldn't feel like a chore, or worse, leave you wondering if they're actually clean. That's why over 100,000 users are tossing out. That's good right there. Kills 99% of germs without you lifting a finger. It's dentist designed for maximum effectiveness. It reaches the gunk you can't. Say goodbye to cloudy scratch trays. It's quick, quiet, and travel friendly. No more musty morning mouth. It's built to last and backed by a warranty. Cool. These are all solid. Just hard hitting benefits. Boom, boom, boom. These are really good. And I would actually be, like I said, I'd be very curious to do both, like upload both of these ads, each separate ad sets inside of the ad account. Same ad, both ad sets, but each ad set will have a different landing page, and just see what would happen there inside of the ad account in terms of performance and stuff by, you know, testing those right there. Yes, it's not a proper split test in the terms of like using A/B testing software. I'm just going to toss them both in a CBO. Same ad creative, just each a different landing page. That way they're both uploaded to the CBO. And then from there, I'm just going to see which one gets more spin, which one converts better at scale, and then just let it roll. I do like both of them. I think the advertorial one plays really well off of this right here and provides more of a longer sales process, which like, you gotta understand, like a lot of people, especially like an unaware ad like this, a lot of people thinking just that 1 30 to 60 second ad, it's going to completely transform someone's mindset of how they approach this. So for me, it's looking at it from the perspective of, hey, can we send people to an advertorial where I can provide even more proof and a longer sales cycle to convert someone over? And then the other side, the listicle, is more, hey, I'm sold on the product now. Let's just hit a bunch of benefits to really kind of like drive it home. So like both of them are very equal tests that I would love to test. So honestly, I would test both and see which one works better. And then, like I said, I would just simply drive traffic from, this page right here. This check availability would just be simply sent to the product page on Shopify. And then I'd make sure to upload my tracking code, which is just my Facebook pixel. So that way all the data collected on that ClickFunnels page is still gonna be transferred back to the Shopify. To your ads manager and stuff. So like you can still optimize for purchases. You can still track all the data and everything like that. But those would be two really good tests right there to look into. Now, as we kind of finish up the portion of actually writing the ad section, other things I'd be looking at in testing is just simply starting to look now at, all right, hey, we found one way to position this product. Now let's start looking at, number one, other problems we can call out. We can start looking at other stages of market awareness we could hit on with this product. And I would just simply follow the same suit in terms of, you go watch the market awareness portion of this video, or actually go and create quite a few different like ads at each stage of market awareness. I would just go simply recreate all of those. And that way I have like my product aware and aware ads as well for this. So I have the full funnel built onto my ad account.
Before we actually get inside the ad account, we need to understand our target cost per purchase. So with that being said, let's dive into the first part of this video where we actually going to go to the cost per acquisition, how to calculate your cost per purchase that you need to scale your ads.
Today we'll be going over that. I have this really cool calculator for you that you can click the link below, file, make a copy, save to Google Drive, and you have full access to this calculator right here. That's where you can actually go ahead and make all your decisions around it. So let's dive into this and kind of go through this and kind of give you some feedback of how to actually calculate your target CPA to understand what to scale and all that good stuff. First things first, this is where we'll start off right here, your AOV. And all you're gonna do is just go look back at the last 3 months and what's your average AOV over the last 3 months. If you don't have any data yet on this, then literally just put your product price here. So let's say you're launching a product at $29. Boom, put your product price in for $29. Now, next thing is, what is your cost of goods per AOV? So if you're selling let's just say we're just on $100 to make it easy. If you're selling a $100 product and your cost of goods is $20 per order, then guess what? All you gotta do is put $20 right there. Next one is, what is your shipping and handling? This can also include processing fees, shipping and handling, and refunds. So let's just say on average, you spend about $10 for shipping and handling per AOV. That means every time someone places an order, on average, it's $100. And the landed cost per AOV is about $30. This gives you $70 of margin, gross margin. Now, I only want costs that scale as the ad scale. So in terms of like warehouse space, and you pay a flat fee on that. I'm not worried about that with this because that percentage of sales is going to be greater right now at low spend, but it's going to be significantly lower at higher spend. Whereas cost of goods and shipping and handling doesn't really change. So I only want cost that, go with per order right now. Obviously, it won't be your true profit, but it's going to be your gross profit before like warehouse space, before you have to pay your team. Because, if you spend, like I say, if you spend 10K a month on warehouse space a month and it doesn't change whether you do 2K a month profit or 100K a month profit, that percentage is going to be significantly different here. Now, next thing is we have our calculated gross break-even CPA, $70. Break-even CPA can also be your total margin. It's also going to give us our break-even ROAS, which is 1.43. Now, some other metrics I'll look at right here is your 6-month LTV, your NC ROAS over the last 6 months, and your 6-month monthly ad spend. I'm actually just going to change this. Well, you can change this to whatever. We'll kind of go over this in a second, but what I'm going to do for right now is just put the 6-month LTV as exactly the same as my AOV. Unless you know your LTV over 6 months. So we'll kind of go over that in a second. I don't want to put too much attention right now on that. And then let's just say over the last couple months, you've been averaging a 2.0 ROAS. And let's just say you've been spending about $30,000 a month. I'm going to put $30,000 right there. So let's kind of look into this. First off, NC ROAS. If you don't know what this is new customer ROAS. And you can find that on Triplewell. This is what I use. I don't really know any other ways to find your NC ROAS. I just know it's easy to find on Triplewell. That's your new customer return on ad spend, not your returning customer return on ad spend. So it's being very clear there. So what's the ROAS we get for a new customer? Now we're spending $30,000 a month. gross margin of 70%, $60,000 in revenue is what we'll make. Total cost of goods and shipping and handling, about $18,000. We're left with about $12,000 of profit per month. Now, that's not good or bad. It's just a number. And that's the first thing you need to understand with all of this. That is just a number right now. So let's look at this and kind of start understanding all the variables we have and how do you actually pick a CPA. So let's just say, for example, like this is fine with us. And again, it's not bad or good. It's just a number. So why would you want a higher number or why would you want a lower number? So for example, all right, well, let's say we want to maintain $30,000 a month in spend, but we scale at a break even. And let's just say break even. I mean, we're making no money basically. If we don't have a really good LTV, in this case, this makes zero sense because why do we want to start a business with, for profit, $12,000 in profit, for example? Why do we want to start a business with zero profit when we're making, $12,000 a month, for example? So these scenarios is for you to play with to kind of model things out. So let's say we want to spend $30,000 a month, and let's just say you want a 10x ROAS. You'll spend $30,000 and get a 10x ROAS, you're making $180K a month in profit. From a realistic perspective, that's near zero. So that's also another thing. Because you have the freedom to change the different ROASs, that doesn't necessarily mean is that realistic or not. Anywhere between, I would say probably cap it at 3 to 4, but also kind of depends on your break even and how you're scaling the business and stuff from that perspective. But in this case right here, ad spend $30,000, 10x ROAS. Again, it's not realistic. So for me, it's like if I want to scale this business, start making more than 12K a month profit, then the first thing I would do is just, hey, let's just keep spending 2x, but can we double ad spend? And let's see if we double ad spend. Boom. Now we start making 24K a month profit. And then guess what? We could just keep doing the same thing. Let's say 2x, but now it's been $100,000 a month. Now we make $40,000. But here's the reality. If you're already doing a 2x, spending 30K a month, you're probably not going to completely you may do like 1.96 right here. Then you might do like 1.8 right here. I just immediately see that jump up. And this is where we start looking at LTV in mind. Now, I'm going to move this to 1 month LTV just because a 6 month LTV is a little bit more difficult to look at. Let's see, 1 month customer value. So this is 30 to 60 days after someone purchases from you, not 0 to 30, but 30 to 60 days. So for example, I'll give y'all a great example, which is my ebook. So my ebook I scale at is $29. Cost of goods is 0. Shipping and handling is 0. So I make 100% profit on it. Now with this, I have a point, I think it's, let's see, 29, 30 divided by 40. I got a 0.75 ROAS on my ebook. It costs $29 and I scale at a $40 CPA. And I spend about $30,000 a month on it. Well, actually a little bit less than that. I spend more like 10K a month. And then the goal from here is how do we make money on that? So I do about a 5x ROAS on that 10K, even though month 1 is terrible, but because the LTV is so good, that's where I start to see a significantly better return on ad spend. So our LTV is, I don't even know. Let me see. Is it $500? Oh, no, not $5,000. That's terrible. Let's see. 500. Nope, definitely not 500. It's probably like 250. Yeah. So it's about 250. Well, I'm actually lowered that a little bit more. That's profit. It's actually be about 200. There we go. So we spend $10,000. We make back $7,500, but within 30 to 60 days, I make back about another additional $40,000. So you can see right there, it initially starts off at $7,500, but it improves up to $51,000. How? Because my ebook, I'm acquiring, 259 new customers a month, and then I'm upselling these people on a course, inner circle, and my agency. So they're coming in, and after a month of me emailing them, SMS them, and all that stuff like that, they increase in revenue from $7,500 to $51,000, making me $41K in profit per month off $10K in ad spend. But if I wouldn't know these numbers, I would just see 0.75 and just see the negative $2,500 I'm losing every month and not looking at the full picture. And I would immediately want to stop scaling. I would immediately want to just shut ads off and run away. But that's where a lot of people get stuck at. And this is how I can immediately see a what I would say a sophisticated business owner versus like they've only been watching drop shipping videos and they haven't really thought for themselves. The drop shippers would be like, only look at 3x ROAS or 2x ROAS and they won't see anything else. Whereas a sophisticated business owner like understands that, hey, I can lose a little money on the front end and scale on the back end. Now, is that every case? No, not at all. We have majority of our clients profiting on day one, but in certain scenarios, then we'll actually, leverage something like this. Like in this particular case, it makes sense. We've had a couple subscription supplement brands where this is exactly how we scaled. We had probably like a 1.5x ROAS with like a, I don't know, let's just say a $60 AOV and like 20 and 10, almost a $50 margin. But the LTV over the course of like 6 months would be something like, $100 or like $120 right there. So they would make more money in the long run and they would lose a little bit money up front, but they would make more money over those couple months. So like, for example, in this case, $100,000, 1.8 ROAS, they lose 10K a month, but every month they lose 10K, they're adding an additional $80,000 in profit over that 6-month period of time right there. So the goal here with this particular sheet that I'm trying to give to y'all is that what you want to look at here is you want to model these different scenarios out, see which one makes the most sense for you, and then from there, stick to the plan. That's where it gives me my NCPA goal, my NC ROAS goal. NC ROAS and NCPA are basically the same thing. Just very clear of that. Just the only difference is like an AOV increase will also affect this as well. So the whole goal with this sheet is 1, you input your metrics, and then you can model off like a 6-month LTV, a 1-month LTV, a 3-month LTV. What I always tell people is start off with a 1-month LTV. So that's 30 to 60 days in, and start off with a 1-month LTV and then spend as much as you can at near break even with a 1-month LTV profit margin goal of making profits. And then guess what? If financials look really good, because you gotta keep in mind, every month you do that, you acquire way more customers. And then what'll happen there is you'll start making way more profit in the back end from returning customers. And then guess what? Next month, try to do a 2-month LTV. So you're willing to spend for a 2-month period of time. So instead of looking at 30 to 60 days, now you're looking at 60 to 90 days is when you become profitable. And you just keep doing that over and over. You're still making profit every month. It's just the profit you're making now start coming in from returning customers versus say looking at new customers specifically being profitable. So model this out, have fun with it. You can change to like 1 month right here. You can change that whatever you want. 1 month right here, change that. And then like I said, anything in these little blue boxes right here, you can actually like, play around with and change. And here's your different scenarios, all of those good things right here. And then like scenario 6, boom. Where I see people do go wrong with this is that they do a highly, what I would say, like I said, like exactly what I did earlier with the 10x ROAS. They do a very unlikely scenario, very unrealistic scenario. And when they do that, they get butthurt because they can't hit that and they feel like Facebook ads don't work for them. So model out the data, basically make your own scenario based off of you. And then this becomes your North Star for scaling the business. And hopefully this helps you out. Hopefully this gives you some actionable data, how to calculate your target CPA, set up a plan and spend by it, test the plan. And then from there, modify the plan a little bit. Maybe you thought you could scale at a 2x ROAS and then you start scaling at a 2x ROAS and money's a little tight. And then you're like, hey, let's spend a little less and try to hit like a 2.5 as long as that's realistic for you. And then let's start scaling up at a 2.5 and that might be better for you. Or, hey, that's not working. Then how can we improve LTV to make profits back from returning customers so we can't afford to spend at that 2x ROAS? That's the key goal right there. I really want to strive for y'all.
Now that you know your target cost per purchase, let's actually go ahead and take our creatives and go inside the ad account and upload the first round of creatives where we dive into the campaign structure, how I set up a campaign in 2025, and how I actually add creatives into that particular campaign.
Inside of my Facebook ad account right now, we're gonna go ahead and hit create new campaign. Inside of this, we're gonna click on sales. Now, again, originally, there used to be something that popped up called like manual or Advantage Plus, and 90% of the time we would do manual. But in this particular case, that's no longer the option. Now it's straight called Advantage Plus sales campaign, which is formerly called Advantage Plus shopping campaign. This setup is now on the by default. with a campaign score of 100 and Advantage Plus on, you're set up to reach your performance potential. Or there is still some manual options available, and we'll kind of dive into what I'm currently using and what I'm currently testing with right now. I'm gonna hit OK on this, and we're gonna go ahead and get started. I'm just gonna call this TS. That's just my, TS is just Theriot Solutions. That's the name of my agency. So anytime we're working on an account, I always start off the campaign like that. I'm just gonna call this prospecting. You can call this whatever, and then leave it as is. Now I'm gonna turn off Advantage Plus catalog ads because we're not running catalog ads. Do I recommend catalog ads? To be fair, it's something you need to test out. Typically they work well when you have hundreds of SKUs in your store with pretty much all like easy things that doesn't require complex sales funnels. But for this particular campaign, we're going to leave that off. Now we're going to scroll down. We want to set the budget to campaign budget. So that way it's going to be what's technically called a CBO campaign, which is campaign budget optimization. And we want to make sure this is turned on, as this will allow Facebook to spend on the best performing ad sets. Now, I always recommend starting a campaign at $100 a day. That's what I personally like to start off with. You can set it as little as $5 a day if you want. Me personally, I always recommend starting off at $100 a day. Now, next thing to set up is the audience segment reporting. And all you're gonna do is click on audience segments right here. And this is something that should be like a one and done type of thing. So once you set this up for the first time, you never have to do it again. And I'm just gonna create a custom audience, website, and then select my pixel. And then from here, website visitors. I personally like website visitors 30 days for the engaged audience, just because pretty much anyone outside of 30 days pretty much forgot your name. And I'm just gonna call this TS website visitors 30 days. Just need to make sure that's labeled right because it's this particular pixel. Create audience, done. And then the next thing I'm gonna do is click on existing customers, create a custom audience, website, next. Gotta make sure it's the same pixel. I'm gonna do purchases, and I'm going to do 180 days. TS purchase 180 days. And I'm going to call that NT pixel just because I have 2 pixels on this account. I'm going to confirm that. And there we go. Now, if you just simply refresh your screen, usually it'll go ahead and like reset it for you and give it a second. And then there we go. So now we have our engaged audience and our existing customers. I'll share a little bit more information about that once we get to that. But it's basically a reporting column setup that makes it easier for us to see if purchases coming from existing customers or purchases coming from engaged audience, or is it new customers, which is super, super valuable to understand on the platform. Now, go ahead and click on next. I'm gonna name my ad set. Usually for me, I name my ad set the batch number for this particular creative test, as I do 3 creatives per ad set. I don't really have a batch number because I'm just doing this as an example. So I'm just gonna put a random batch number like that. USA, male plus female, because that's what I'll be targeting. 18 plus, broad, because that's all I do is broad targeting. And I'm optimizing for purchases. Next thing I'm gonna click on is website. Now, you technically could do website and shop if you have your shop set up. I do not have shop set up, so I'm just clicking on website. Next thing is I'm gonna do maximize number of conversions. There's maximize number of value of conversions. There's a couple of these other ones, but for me personally, I do maximize number of conversions. Then I'm going to select my pixel that I want to use. And then for here, I want to select purchases. Now, something important to understand is because there's still people that ask me, should I do landing page views? Should I do add to carts, initiate checkouts? Even if I'm starting off with an account with 0 data, I'm still optimizing for purchases. And that's because the way Facebook works is that they automatically categorize people into these different standard events. So if you want purchases, optimize for purchases. If you want add to carts, optimize for add to carts. If you want website traffic, optimize for website traffic. Due to majority of my clients being either lead gen or e-commerce, we're optimizing 90% of the time for purchases or leads depending on the client. Now, I personally don't do cost per result goal. I have videos on my channel why, but long story short, it restricts the algorithm from learning. So I don't do cost per result goal. I don't do cost caps. I don't do bid caps. Me personally, I always get auto, works the best. Attribution setting, I don't touch this. Start date, typically anytime I launch a campaign, I like to start it at midnight. So like technically today right now, it's Sunday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I'm just gonna click on Monday. I'm gonna type in 12, boom, boom, and then AM. So that way it launches at midnight. I never select an end date, so that's fine. Budget scheduling, I don't do that either. Now, for audiences here, this is where a little bit more kind of goes into the actual targeting side. Again, I do broad targeting. That means I don't do any interest, I don't do any lookalikes, and I also don't do any retargeting audiences. I do still run retargeting ads, but I put it as the same audience as my top of funnel creatives. That's because I believe the algorithm uses the creative and all the data in that creative to target your customers, and it optimizes around that. So when I look at this audience section right here, I have Advantage on. This is default now. For me, 90% of our accounts, I'm just leaving this on. I'm not touching it. I'm not leaving it off. So only thing I have to do here is just select the country I want to target. This campaign, I want to target USA. So I'm just leaving USA in here. Yes, you technically can add other countries in here and group those up into one campaign. I personally like to do one country per campaign, because if I want to scale to other countries, I don't have to edit this campaign. I'd rather just leave this campaign optimized and rolling. And if I want to scale to a new country, I just simply create a new campaign. It makes it easier from a long-term perspective versus just toss all the campaigns in one campaign and let it run. So for me personally, I'm leaving this on right here. And again, if you need to target another country, you can go ahead and do that. Now, the particular product I'm gonna be selling can be anyone. So I'm leaving as minimum age 18. We have some clients, for example, that legally can only sell to 60 plus due to like certain things. So like we have to do 60 plus. We've worked with clients that are in the alcohol and like cannabis niche where we had to target 21 plus. So 90% of the time, I'm just leaving it 18 plus, but there will be some exceptions when we're working with a product that has the legal standards where we have to target a certain age group. Custom audience exclusion. Here's where I'll go ahead and do like purchases. And we just did a purchase one right there. So I'll do purchase 180 days. To be fair, I notice very little impact of purchase 180 days on or off. So if you have never done this before, going add this to your ad sets is going to make really no significant impact. I do like this though when we're working with clients that have a large amount of SKUs and products on their website. And that way we can keep ads from hitting those returning customers. So that way only email and SMS can bring returning customers. So that way we can keep ads focusing on new customer acquisition, which is the whole goal of running Facebook ads. All languages, I'm gonna leave it as is. Suggest an audience, again, nothing I need to do here, and that's it. Now, there will be scenarios where we may need to click this button called further limit the reach of your ads. And I'll do that just to show it to you guys. But basically, it'll basically say, hey, only switch setup if you need to limit your ads to reach to a specific age, range, gender, or custom audience. And you just simply click switch setup. Now, in what cases would you need to do this? So for example, I would launch an Advantage Plus campaign as is. Now, let's say, for example, we have like one of my students is marketing to females only. And yes, like pretty much anyone can have the product, but dominantly like females only. If we're getting a ton of men starting to get impressions served to that particular ad, and because it's just a woman in the ad, and that's why men are seeing it and wanting to look at it, then we may have to come in and actually switch this setup to where it's only on female. But what we're doing right now is 90% of the time, we're just launching as is. And then if there's a gender that's taking overall spend with horrendous cost per acquisition, then we'll come in and actually manually remove that gender and switch to the, further limit your reach of your ads. But right now we're keeping on Advantage Plus. So I'm just going to leave that back right there. Now placements, I've always just leave Advantage Plus placements on. That's nothing new for me. So now we're going to go and click into next. Now I do one flexible ad per ad set. So I'm just gonna call this number 100. I always start off at like 100 in my naming because it just makes it easier from a long-term foundation perspective. Then you just go click your Facebook page, your Instagram account. Now I'm gonna go to creative source, manually upload, and then I'm gonna click on flexible. So each ad set I create has 3 creatives. These are gonna be 3 videos or 3 photos. And the difference here between each of those videos or each of those photos is the visual hook, not the text hook, not the script. So I'm gonna go and first show you guys a image one where I'm just gonna click on upload, and I have 3 images right here. I'm gonna show y'all as an example and get these uploaded, and there we go. So now we have our 3 images uploaded. Again, the only difference here, they all have the same text hook, but just a different visual hook, which is like the background in this case. Now, next thing we'll do is go ahead and for the primary text, we're gonna add one primary text with a new primary text we want to test. And then we're gonna do old winning primary text. And then for a headline, we'll do a new headline, and then we'll add a text option and we'll do an old winning headline. There we go. Then I'll add in my website URL. I'm starting to leave on Advantage Plus creative optimizations. I'm not seeing any impact leaving it on or off. So I'm just leaving it on just because I'm tired of having to turn it off. And then I'm just going to go ahead and click on shop now. If I'm using a tracking software like Wicked Reports, Hyros, or Triplewell, dominantly we use Triplewell for all of our e-commerce clients. I'm gonna go ahead and put that URL parameters right there. So this is how we set up an ad creative. Now I'm gonna show y'all a video version. I'm just gonna click on this and duplicate it. I'm gonna change this to 101, delete that, go in here, 101. And I'm just gonna show y'all how to do it with videos as well. Add videos, I'm gonna select these 3 videos and upload that. Now that our videos are uploaded, I'm gonna go ahead and select all 3 of them, hit continue. And then same thing here. We'll do like our new primary text and we'll do an old winning primary text. This way, each video gets 2 different copies to test on it. So that way we can cross as many variables off the list. Now, just to show you how some of these videos are set up real quick, all of these videos have a different visual hook, but a different, or all have the same text hook, but a different visual hook. So if I open up all 3 of these real quick, and just to let y'all see this, and y'all see that, hey, all of these videos have the exact same text hook, just a different visual hook, and all of them have the same script. So there's nothing different here on the script. And just to let y'all further see this a little bit, they all basically do the same thing. So I just wanted to make sure y'all are very clear on that. I'm just changing the visual hook of each video, and then the rest of the video is exactly the same. All right, cool. So now that all this is loaded in, then obviously I would go ahead and hit publish. Another thing that I just want to kind of address real quick is that some people also ask me regarding, hey Nick, what happens if we can't see the winning videos and stuff like that? Me personally, I don't really care, because this whole ad set, I uploaded these 3 pictures and I know the concept, which is like feel like John Wick. So for me personally, if those take off and work really well, then all I'll do is just go ahead and, oh, hey, the feel like John Wick headline worked well. I'll go create maybe some different variations of this where it's like, hey, feel like John Wick, and then I'll have some different colored cabinets, different backgrounds. Or maybe I'll go ahead and feel like John Wick worked. I'll go ahead and take this exact one and I'll create some more versions with like other notable people that people look up to. In this particular example, the military niche or gun niche. So for me personally, it's like, it's not really important, because if I have a winning ad, it doesn't really help me much because I know the headline, because that's the only headline I used or only hook I used. And from there, now my new goal is, what are other hooks I can find? So since this hook worked, I'm not just going to keep reusing it, because that's where a lot of people fuck up at, is they keep reusing the same hook over and over and over, and it creates no net new winners. So for me, it's like, cool, that hook worked. Cool, I'm gonna move on to the next hook that's gonna create the highest probable reality of me finding new winners inside of there. But I do want to show y'all another way y'all can do this. You are more than welcome to also is just split these up. So like, for example, we have 3 videos right here. I'm just gonna do 1 video. So this is like 129-1. I'm just gonna call this -1. And then I can duplicate this, add video, -2. There's nothing wrong with this at all. There's nothing wrong with you creating 3 separate ads in here. I think a lot of people overcomplicate this. They think this is going to create a significant impact in their performance. It's not. I do this quite often too as well. So you can either do the flexible creative, you can do 3 separate creatives, or for example, the other day I had like a spring sale launch for a store, and we created like 20 ads in the ad set, because a flexible ad set, you could only have, what I would say, you can only have up to 10 videos or up to 10 pictures in a flexible ad set. So for me, I launched this big spring sale, and then I just loaded in like a whole bunch of different stuff. So like, I'm just gonna click a bunch of random things real quick, and I just loaded this in. They probably had 20 ads inside of this. So that's another thing that I have done, just giving y'all clarity on that. People overcomplicate this part, but in reality here, you do not need to overcomplicate this. The whole goal with this campaign structure is that, one, we're setting it at the campaign level for the budget. That allows Facebook to determine what ad set to spend on based off most likely to convert. Now, let's talk about a couple other things here. Number one, Facebook does not care about your target cost per purchase. So there will be times where Facebook will spend more on an ad set that you launched with a worse CPA than an ad set that has a better CPA but barely any spend. Facebook doesn't care about your cost per purchase goal. Facebook needs to be able to take all those ads you gave it, and it's going to spend the most on the creative that can reach the most people, that resonates with the most people. The ad sets that resonate with the fewest people, that's the creative resonating with people, the fewer the people that resonate with that particular creative right there, Facebook's going to spend less. Now, there could be in times where it's intentionally made to spend less on that creative, for example, through retargeting. In retargeting, we created this ad set to specifically reach a small group of people. Now, I'm not setting a retargeting audience in here. I'm just simply uploading creatives that's meant to speak to a lower funnel audience. Because I uploaded creatives that speak to a lower funnel audience, it reaches less people. So Facebook's going to spend less on it, and it's going to have a really good cost per purchase on it because it's converting a few people in the low end of the funnel. There's no way we could spend a ton of money on that particular ad set because it just simply wouldn't have enough people to reach or resonate with. Now, for our higher top of funnel creatives, this is going to be your solution aware, your problem aware, and your unaware stages of market awareness. At these particular stages right here, Facebook's going to spend way more money on those. Now, how does Facebook determine to spend on what ad set and what ads? Every time you create a Facebook ad creative and you launch it, those first couple impressions, Facebook's going to watch out for. Hey, are people swiping past this creative, or are people stopping to look at this creative? That's the first level of just judgment. If a lot of people swipe past a ad in the early stages, Facebook will not spend money on it. If a lot of people are stopping on your ad to watch it or look at it, then what's going to happen here is that Facebook's going to spend more money on it. Now, the second level is, okay, a lot of people are stopping to scroll on this ad. Is there enough people to go ahead and spend money on this? So for example, the percentage of people that are neuro brain surgeons versus the percentage of people that are construction workers. There's significantly more construction workers. So if we put an ad for construction workers and an ad for neuro brain surgeons in the same campaign, the construction workers ad would get way more spin because there's a lot more people out there that will resonate with construction workers. Whereas for brain surgeons, there's very few of those. So it's going to get way less spin. This is very important to understand because what a lot of people will confuse this as is, oh, Facebook's spending more construction workers, and because of that, it's not converting, and like the construction workers ad's crushing. But it's just reality is that there's more spin that can go to construction workers. There's substantially more people to reach. Now, the next thing to talk about is scaling and also adding in new ad sets. All I do is, assuming this campaign's launch and live and stuff, I'll just come in and keep adding in new ad sets with creatives to into this campaign. And if I want to increase the budget, for example, I'll literally just come inside of here and I'll just go and increase this budget by 20% a day. Go watch my YouTube video, How to Scale Facebook Ads in 2025. I go over our specific scaling strategy with how to increase budget and why I personally prefer 20% a day. Now, all I'll do is just keep adding in new ad sets in here with my new creatives. And for the most part, I do one product or one product category in one country per campaign. So you choose one product or one product category. The reason why I say product category is because you may be a clothing brand with a t-shirt collection, and then, or you might be someone like me who sells like my ebook or like my inner circle, which is two completely different products. And then I always do one country per campaign. Now, as far as adding in new ad sets, you can add as many as you want. I do not have a number anymore for how many ad sets live at once. I do not have a number anymore for the number of ad sets I add in on a weekly basis. And the only time I'm turning an ad set off is on a 7-day window if it's negatively hurting the performance for the campaign. And then from there, if I turn off something that's hurting the campaign negatively and it further worsens results, I'll just turn that ad set back on. Now, as far as adding a new ad sets, yes, I do not have a cap anymore for how many ad sets you could add in. And I will no longer turn off ad sets on a 7-day window. I'm just leaving them on. So that way, if something doesn't get spent within the first 7 days, it still has opportunity to earn spin down the line. Now, as far as unlimited number of ad sets you can add on a weekly basis, there's a good thing and a bad thing. This is a good thing for people who actually go and practice all the marketing fundamentals I teach and go build high quality creatives every week that are strategically positioned. This is a terrible thing for people that just sit there and rip things offline and throw things at the wall and hope something sticks. It's terrible for those people because those people, one, are impatient. Two, they're just throwing random shit at the wall and they're not having any strategy to this, so it just won't work for them. Whereas the people that are actually properly practicing all the high level marketing psychology and consumer psychology that I preach on this channel and actually building creatives with intention each week, you're not going to go build 100 creatives in a week unless you have a massive team that'll probably cost you 25, 50K a month. So you're probably realistically only going to still fall into about 3 to 6 new concepts a week. And that's just based off your own capabilities and manpower on your team.
Now that you know your target cost per purchase, how to set up the campaign, you have that's live, and now you want to know when to increase the budget or decrease the budget, aka how to scale Facebook ads. Well, in this video, we're going to be hopping into now is actually how to actually scale the ads and what decisions and what things I look at to scale those ads.
Just want to show you, I'll take a look real quick. This is an account that over the last 7 days, about $148,000 in sales, 46K in profit. It's also leveraging Triple Well right here. And then we spent about $40,000 on Meta, about $9,600 on Google. Now, to be fair, we don't touch Google and we don't touch TikTok. They have other agencies that are for this particular client that's running those things. Now, let's kind of go over this account. What are we looking at to scale? So number one thing for scaling Facebook ads, you need a North Star. A North Star is your live or die by. This is not something that's like, something we're talking about with one of my mentors the other day. There's a preference, which is something that you kind of wishy-washy on, and then you have boundaries. Like a boundary is something that you will not cross at all. Like, look, just use an extreme scenario here, like murder, for example. Like, no one's doing that, at least that I know of. That's a clear boundary for you. Whereas a preference might be like, some days I like coffee, some days I like Red Bull. Do I do a Red Bull every day? No. Do I do coffee every day? No. But there's some days I'm wishy-washy on those days. So you have a boundary first you need to set of what NCPA you want to scale at. NCPA is the cost to acquire a new customer. Now, I only focus on NCPA when I'm scaling because I want to leverage Facebook ads to acquire new customers for my brand. I don't want to use Facebook ads to get existing customers to purchase. Existing customers to purchase, that's where my email and SMS is for. But I only want to focus on new customers because the more new customers I acquire, the bigger the business can scale and the bigger the business can grow. Like for example, like my inner circle. When I spend money on Facebook ads to acquire students for my inner circle is $1,000 a month. And I'd say we probably only acquire anywhere between 10 to 12 new students a month, but we have like 50, 60 other students a month that are just on that auto draft and stuff like that. When I see in Stripe, oh, we did $5,000 in sales today, I need to bump up my budget for Facebook ads. But then I'll look, it's 5 students that just got auto drafted that day for their membership. Facebook had no contribution to that. So you only want to focus on new customers because new customers is what Facebook's bringing to the table, whereas existing customers, they're going to purchase either way. So I just want to be very clear on that first. You need your North Star. So first I set my North Star. This particular account, I think it's a $22 NCPA we're scaling at. I'm currently not running ads for this account. That's actually one of my team members that's running ads for this particular account. But I think it's $22 that we're actually we're focusing on right now. It's either $20 or $22. So we'll use $22 as an example for this particular video here. So as long as this is at $22 exactly or below, we can spend more money on Facebook ads. As far as us like actually spending more money on Facebook ads, it's very, very simple. It's us just coming in this account. You can just select it like this, edit, campaign budget, and you can either just do increase daily budget by 20%. if we're hitting our targets, or it's decrease daily budget if we're not hitting our targets, and then we just decrease it by 20%. So we're only doing 20% up or 20% down. No problem at all with using surfing, no problem at all with all these other ways. This is just the way I've had the most consistent success with. I've been doing this for 3 years now this way, and all the other ways were just like short-term things that just never lasted from a consistent standpoint. So we only use 20% up or 20% down. The only time I'll surf, and if you don't know what surfing is where like I'm doubling budget 2 or 3 times a day. The only times I surf is like during Black Friday, where we only have a short period of time to spend a lot of money. Or like maybe, for example, there's a particular thing going on, like an event that we're doing, and we only have like 2 or 3 days to spend a lot of money. That's the time I'll surf. But 99% of the time of the year, I'm just 20% up or 20% down. Now, all I simply do is just come in Triple L and look at yesterday and okay, cool. My NCPA target is $21 or $22. Let's give it a second to load. We're at a $21 NCPA yesterday. I'll go in and increase budget by 20%. Now, this is where there's also some other factors. So I generally only do 1 campaign per account, but this particular client is in a couple different countries. So I have 1 campaign per country. This one's just slightly different. We only have 2 campaign. We only have 2 countries in this one because it's US and Canada, and same thing here for Australia and New Zealand. So because there's multiple campaigns, we also have to kind of know from a little bit, we have to know a little bit more now. This is where attribution tools come really in play. So if I click on Meta, I can actually look at yesterday, and then inside of yesterday, I can more specifically see the level of which each of these campaigns performed. And again, I'm still looking at NCPA. Now, I like to look at overall NCPA for a reason. Overall is like the true 100% accurate, where like even these attribution tools are still not fully accurate to the point where I can fully trust them. So I just want to kind of collectively see here, okay, hey, this one, $34 NCPA. It was also the highest spending campaign. This one had a 37, which is like way higher than my highest spending campaign. Oh, actually, to be fair, no, that's not the highest spending. My highest spending one's $32 right here. This one actually spent the same amount, but had a significantly higher NCPA. And this one also had a higher NCPA, but it had way lower spend. I'm only going to bump budget by 20% on the US and Canada campaign. The Euro and the Australian campaign, honestly, I'm just going to leave. I'm not going to touch because the performance is still not like technically hot relative, again, keyword here, relative to my other campaign. So I'll just come in here, US and Canada, bump by 20%, and that's it. And I'm done for today. That's it. That's all I got to do. Very, very simple and quick. Now, what about decreasing budget? So the big thing with decreasing budget is I'll do last 24 hours to increase budget. But for decreasing budget, I typically allow 3 to 4 days at a much higher NCPA before I go ahead and fix that. Let me just go back. So let's just say if I can find real quick a day where we had a much higher NCPA. So December 10th, for example. December 10th, we had a $23 NCPA. So December 11th, which was yesterday, I wouldn't go ahead and just decrease now because we had a $23 NCPA that day. I'll typically allow 3 to 4 days at a high NCPA before I start decreasing spend. Why? Because I've just found out that, not just found out, but like I've just found over time that if we have a day of hitting a bad performance, just don't touch anything. Literally do not fucking touch anything for a couple days, 2 or 3 days, and it'll just autocorrect itself. So when you actually go and start touching and doing all these things in the account, it'll actually make performance worse. And then you start like trying to catch a falling knife. You do all these actions and it's just destroying everything. So for me, I'll just go ahead and literally just give it 3 or 4 days. Don't touch anything and it'll just autocorrect itself. And I found that's just a much better route. And I've had significantly higher success with that. Now, from a client perspective, it can kind of look bad because I'm just not doing anything and not being proactive. But honestly, it just had such a higher success rate that I'm just 100% confident in that particular action right there. Now, that's it. That's all I do. So you hit your NCPA, you scale up by 20%, or you give it a few days and you scale down. And then same thing, if I have to scale down because it's not doing performance, it's not performing hot, then I'll just give it a few days and then that's it. Now, another thing I want to talk about here is I want to talk about a hard deck. So let's actually go to another account. So this is actually another client account right here. And this account, fresh launch, fresh from scratch. We didn't do anything else. So there's only 1 campaign so far in this account. And we set a hard deck of like $75 a day on Facebook, meaning that we're going to spend that $75 regardless if we have god awful performance or not. And all of August, we had a $100 cost per purchase. Our target cost per purchase was $30. Yes, we're losing like $70 every single day that, or like $40 every day that we run this. But again, that's our hard deck. A hard deck is something you set that you do not scale below regardless of performance. So at every different level, we'll have a different hard deck. We have a client right now at a $500 a day hard deck. They need a $30 cost per purchase to scale, and they're currently at, I think, a $33 or $34 cost per purchase. But they also have cash in the bank, they have reserves, all that good stuff. This is a brand new account, meaning they were zero spend prior to us coming on board. And just to show you that, like, here's like the 1st of August, like zero money was spent in this account. Now, what we did was all we did was just literally kept working the system. So if you look at all the way from September 1st through the 19th, you know, went from $100 cost per purchase, and all we do is just keep testing new ads and trying to find a new winning ad for this account. And I have videos on the channel on how to test new Facebook ad creatives. So how to test Facebook ads in 2025 is my most updated guide currently right now on this, and it'll show you how to test ads, creatives, all that good stuff. Now, watch what happens on the 20th through the rest of the month. We hit a $31 cost per purchase. Why? Because we found a creative that took overall spend. And what we do is we just do one like flexible ad per, again, how to test Facebook ads 2025. That video will show you all of this. So I kept spending and I kept focusing on prioritizing and finding those new creatives to where I could then start spending more. And then if we look at October, we really start to scale in October, and we spent $19,000 on a $33 cost per purchase. But if we go back to August, we literally spent $1,900. We spent 10 times more in October because we kept spending every day. We kept our hard deck. We finally found a creative that allows us to hit our $30 cost per purchase, and then we just started scaling 20%, 20%, 20%. So that's what happens. So you set that hard deck, you never scale below. You focus on finding those winning creative. So if you're not hitting that NCPA of what you're trying to hit right now, then just keep testing. Don't scale below your hard deck. And then from there, you'll find your new winning creatives and you can scale back up. And then like there's other things you can focus on in terms of like creatives. You can also look at landing pages, offer testing and stuff like that. Those are some high level things you can do. And there'll be other videos for that. But for the most part, 90% of people just focus on better creatives, and that will impact everything. Again, how to test Facebook ads in 2025. That'll go over step by step of how to do all that from a high level perspective, from what we're doing, of how we structure it, all that good stuff right there.
Now that you know how to set up the campaign, how to launch the creatives, your target CPA, how to scale ads, when do you actually turn off a Facebook ad? Well, this video we're going to dive into now actually goes into the decisions I make when it comes out to actually turning off a Facebook ad creative. Let's dive into it.
Just got back home from boxing and immediately jumped into the ads manager, start going through some client accounts. This is one of the accounts that I'm pulling up. You're only running our one CBO campaign right now in this account. And last 7 days, we spent about $3,000 with a $33 cost per purchase. Our target cost per purchase for this account is $30. So we're pretty close. We're $3 away from our target. And we'll kind of see if we can actually kind of optimize that and fix that today based off the ad sets that we're turning off. So let's just dive into this. First thing I always like to do when I hop into an account, I always like to click on the amount spent right here. If you just click on it, it'll sort it by highest spending to lowest spending. That allows me to just kind of see like what's being spent on in this account. And then from a high level to low level, because again, I always care about highest spending down. Next thing I'm gonna do is just type in active inside of here. I'm gonna do ad set to delivery is active. And then that way I can see all of the ads that are currently active right now in this account. Now, to be fair, we launched all of these tests, 149, 150, 147B, 140, basically all of these tests we launched last Thursday, and today's Wednesday. So long story short, these tests had full 7 days to spin, and none of them took overall spin and improved performance here. So all I'm gonna do, first things first, is just turn off these ads. I'm just gonna click down here, boom, 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 and then turn off. These had a full week to spin. They didn't spend. This shows to me that these are just bad ads. That's how I view that. So boom, that's the first thing. Now, next thing, we did actually turn off an ad the other day. And I just want to kind of show you all that ad right there. This particular ad was 137. Now, let's take a look into 137 here for a second. So 137, spent $993 over the last 7 days, almost $1,000. And this particular ad had a $39 cost per purchase. So that's, again, $9 over our target that we're trying to hit. So for me, it was like, okay, cool. So we have a $9 higher cost per purchase, but it's getting good spin. So my next question here always comes down to, do we have other ads in the account that are doing better with a lower spin, or do we have other ads that are doing better with a higher spin? Yes, we do. We have 103. It spends almost double with a much lower cost per acquisition. Then the next one is, do we have ads that a low spin? To be fair, I don't really care much about the ads at a low spin, but do we have any ads with slightly lower spin that have significant results? And in this particular example right here, this ad right here only spent $138 with a $19 cost per purchase. So technically, yes, it's doing much better. But why isn't Facebook spending more on this ad? That's usually always my question. Again, our target cost per purchase is $30. We're getting a current $19 cost per purchase here. So this particular ad set has a 1.68 frequency over the last 7 days. That means to me that 68% of people saw this ad twice over the last 7 days. Whereas our highest spending ad had a 1.23 frequency over the last 7 days. That means 23% of people saw this ad twice. Now, for me, frequency, what is an ideal frequency? For me, an ideal frequency is 1.0. That's ideal. Now, I don't turn off an ad purely based off frequency. If an ad's crushing it and has a good like a higher frequency, I don't care. But it gives me context of what next ads I need to run inside of the account. Do I need to go ahead and create ads that appeal to larger audiences? Do I need to go improve my current creative just to make it more appealing, right? So like, give you a great example. If I made this video like a 30-minute video and I was like stuttering the whole video and like maybe just talking to the camera, not even showing any visuals and stuff like that, like it's the same exact creative or same exact video, but just worsely done from a creative standpoint. And that would have a very lower view count because people really wouldn't be watching the video. They'd be leaving, and I'd signal to YouTube that, hey, not many people are watching this video. It's not that great, lower views, and YouTube wouldn't recommend it. Same thing with Facebook. If the video's not really good in terms of people watching it creatively and stuff like that, then what'll happen here is you'll get a higher frequency because Facebook struggles to find people to show this video to. And same thing, or vice versa, if your desire you're going after or the level of market awareness you're going after is also not largely resonated. Like if I make a YouTube video, for example, like market sophistication, and I literally say how to use market sophistication, it'll get very little views because not many people know what that is. So if I call out a desire not many people know of, or if I just do a very poor creatively formatted video, both of those things can impact frequency. So this particular video here, we spent, like I said, about $993, 1.8 frequency. So this shows to me that this ad really will not scale because it's appealing to a small group of people and it's getting a high cost per purchase. And we have ads with a much better CPA with a lower frequency, which shows to me I can really squeeze more out of this video. So turning off this ad set is actually going to improve things because now it can shift some of that budget into this and also can shift a little bit more budget into this one right here. Now we'll have a $30 and a $19 CPA. And just to kind of show y'all how that would impact things hypothetically, that would bring things down to about a $29 cost per purchase versus the much higher one that we had originally. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's how I'll adjust things in this particular account.
All right, so now that you know when to turn off a Facebook ad, let's actually look at a quick case study with all of these things implemented of us testing ads, building the account up, finding winners, and then actually scaling this account up in, hitting our goals and stuff like that.
Now in step one, we simply want to begin our market research, which drives our creative strategy. We need to understand who we even plan to run ads to. What I like to do is go to Reddit, TikTok, YouTube,
and then also looking at competitors selling the same product as me. And then I have a list of questions I like to answer to uncover the key emotional driving decisions for these customers, which then allows me to go and start building out the hook. These various different hooks I create are the things that grab people's attention and then drives the rest of the creative. Now for me, the hook always starts off with the text hook, then I write the rest of the script, then I add the visuals that emulate that script right there we create. Now, once we have these hooks and these different ad concepts we want to create, we then go and start building out the actual creatives. So we'll basically have these different little ad plans, which is just basically everything that's gonna be in that script and what we want done in that particular creative. And we'll either send this to our editing team, which will then go and just use content we already have on file, or we'll send this over to a content creator where we'll pay them to film that particular video with our product. Now that we have all our creatives built out, then we'll start moving into the technical side of the Facebook ad account setup. Now for this particular account, we're only selling one product and we're only selling in one country. This means we only need one campaign to scale this store. So I'm gonna create my first campaign in this ad account. I'm gonna go ahead and hit create campaign. Then I'm gonna click on manual sales campaign, turn off advantage catalog ads. I'm also going to turn on advantage campaign budget. I'm gonna select a daily budget of $55. Now, because it's a brand new ad account, there's a spend limit on the account of $50. So we can't spend more than $50 in a day. So the way we get around this is by going ahead and setting a budget of $55, 10% higher than your daily spend limit. This signals to Facebook that, hey, we're trying to spend more. And if we keep hitting this for a couple days in a row, Facebook will start to increase our spend limit. Now, the next thing we're gonna do is go to our ad set level. We're gonna optimize for purchases. Next thing you wanna do is you want to turn off the advantage audience, and then you want to select your age, gender, and location that you want to target. Next thing we'll do is we'll turn on automatic placement, and then here we can go to the ad level. Now I do one ad set per ad concept, and one ad concept for me is 3 creatives. And then I'm selecting flexible creative, uploading my photos or my videos into there, and then what I'm doing is just adding in my copy, headline, primary text. Then from here, I'm just gonna simply hit publish. So over the next 12 weeks, all we're doing is simply research, create creatives, launch inside of that account. So let's look at first 4 weeks of data inside of this account. So during the first 4 weeks, we launched multiple different creatives and we tracked performance pretty closely. Wasn't the greatest in the first 4 weeks, and we actually had a CPA of around $100 during this time. Again, I am not worried because this is a brand new ad account with no data. Now, week 5 through 8 got interesting. Now we were able to start really ramping up our creative volume during this period of time right here. And this is where we allow to really start to understand more about who and why people are buying, what some of their desires, who's the type of people that's buying inside of this account. This allowed us to start to adjust our messaging to better tailor to those people, which dropped the CPA even further. By week 6, we got down to a $60 CPA, which again, keep in mind, beginning was around 100, week 6 about 60, and then we end up at about a 30. A 30 is the target for this particular account. Now, weeks 9 through 12, this is where we finally hit gold. Inside of this ad account, we found a new winning ad creative that actually hit our exact target that we were looking for, which brought down CPA at the lowest possible point of $27 during this period of time right here. It's allowed us to really start to increase ad spend during this period of time, where we're doing 20% increases almost every single day. By week 12, we finally crossed over $1,000 a day of ad spend. Now, be very clear here. This is a consumable product, and this particular client is breaking even on the first purchase, and they're going to keep coming back and buying more. This whole process, which literally allowed us to go from $50 a day of ad spend all the way up to $1,000 a day in ad spend, which generated us over $30,000 a month in revenue.
I hope you enjoyed the Advanced Facebook Ads Guide of 2025. I definitely recommend you implementing everything, and hopefully it absolutely crushes for you. If you're looking for more one-on-one guidance where you learned everything and then you just want to make sure you're doing these things correctly and applying it to your ad account correctly, then click the link below to join the Inner Circle. This is a monthly program. This is not a course, and it's a monthly program where we hop on a one-on-one call each month. Me personally, no coach, no anyone else. So once a month, me and you hop on a one-on-one call, review your ad account, review your ads, and give you strategic feedback of what you should do next to scale. Then on top of that, I do a weekly group call with the other members. Typically around 15 to 20 people join on that call. And I'll do anywhere between a 2 to 3 hour call depending on the week, where I'll go over some weekly wins with the students. I'll go into a lesson and then go into a Q&A, all live group call. We may open up some ad accounts. We may look at some creatives. Just each week we do that. It's Friday at 1 p.m. Central Time that I do that. It's due on a Zoom call. Now, last thing, you also get a group chat with the other members, about 75, 80 members at the time of this video that I'm filming. And on that group chat, that's where, people just ask questions throughout the week, other students, and then I give feedback one-on-one in that group chat right there. So I answer all the questions, get no other coaches or anything like that. So if you're interested in that program, then click the link below to take a look at the Inner Circle, and I'll see you on the inside. Thanks for watching.